Hey, all right,
And we're live.
we're
I want to
live.
play one of our songs as an intro.
You don't have to play it from there. We actually already have it on the computer, so we can definitely do that.
Great.
Yeah. But we'll
To
just
end
give
the
it a minute
Fed.
here to get some people in. And it looks like some people are commenting it before here. Someone said that
Oh,
Liberty
that's
Doll
funny.
stream had just ended. So someone said shots and fish balls. That's funny. Yeah, no shots and fish balls. We do have,
We have mixed drinks.
we have some drinkage that we'll be
but
enjoying.
no balls.
No fish balls.
Unless you count Jack's balls.
Yeah, but those
But
are
no
not
fish balls.
not going to be eaten. So
Yeah, those aren't edible.
not like that.
I mean, they are edible, but like, I don't probably taste gross.
Hello, Malcolm. How's it going? Hello, Derek.
Cheers. Hello.
Cheers.
Hello, Shadow Band.
Yeah, that shirt though.
Thank you. You mean this shirt or this shirt?
I'm pretty sure it's yours because there's Liberty stuff
nice
on it.
shirt.
Yeah,
That great
that
shirt
shirt's
right
fine,
there.
yeah.
That's great. Thank you.
That's some good stuff. That's some good stuff.
Hey, Edgar. Hey, Sonny.
Hey, what's up, Sonny?
Hey, Travis. Whoa.
What's up? Hey, Robert's
Oh,
there.
thanks, Robert.
What's up,
Super
Robert?
sticker.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I love that he always pops out with a super sticker. It's
wow, thanks.
great. That's hilarious. So thanks, Robert. Appreciate it. That's awesome.
Yeah, the Mises Caucus, Libertarian
Lots of fun.
Party.
Yeah.
You know.
So yeah, we're gonna be talking a bit about the different things
Life,
coming up. We have
progress,
obviously
stuff we've done.
the Liberty coasters. We're definitely
things
promoting
going on.
taxation
Thanks,
and
David.
theft.
Hey, Justin. Yeah. Oh, these are cool. These are coasters. You know, they stick.
Yeah.
Not to cloth, but
So-
to like tables. You know, where they're meant to be.
Right. They are super cool. Like
And they're easy to clean. Like we found them pretty like very easy to clean, and they go back to like how they were when we first got them. So
right.
what? Is this PVC?
Yeah, they're PVC and they have a non-stick back. So yeah, we launched these and they did very well. Lots of people apparently got sets. So we're just doing a little promo
sets
for
of
that
4.
as it's starting to wrap up. And also,
Yeah.
you can show people.
Yeah, and if you want your own, just go to treesofliberty.org and you can see the current Philosophers Market campaign. And the current one is, the coasters. So you can get like a set of 4, you could just get 1. You could just get the keychain. So that's me. You know, totally proportional to size. It's
You might have to bring
blurry,
it back.
can't see
Yeah, because
it.
it's focused at this end. So,
Oh, I see. There you go.
but I can actually just show people using this up close thing.
pictures.
So, boom, there you
Yay.
go.
Wow.
There it is up close and clear. Live.
Shows
So, yeah.
fancy.
Hey, oh, wait, I'm over here. What am I doing?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you can see it's a pretty cool keychain. And of course, there's also
rotating.
stuff like the
Don't
coasters.
tread on
Don't tread me
me
coasters.
coaster.
Yeah, those are super cool.
Mm.
And you can get it in a set of 4 too, so it makes for a great decoration. And there's a taxation staff coaster. Again, whoop, super awesome. And
and by the way,
it's a
that
great way to drink.
Chinese says, I'm pretty sure it's like, let people be free, right?
Yeah, liberate the people or free the people.
Liberate the people. Yeah.
Right, release the people.
So you see that person character, right?
Yeah.
That's my only indication because the other characters, that's Chinese. I can't read that. Just kidding. I can only read this person character.
Yeah.
I learned that in Japanese class. So
yeah, just a little
I'm
promotion
glad you
for
guys
that.
like that. Thank you. So yeah, Philosophers Market. So that's new, 2021.
Yep.
Enjoying that under the Trees of Liberty banner. Pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
What else? Music has been really fun. I mean, this year we did 3 songs and it's only been 2 full months.
Right.
So I really enjoyed making Tom Wood's house. That was just really fun to go in studio and have a good time. The engineers, like they don't know Tom Woods. They don't know a lot of the terms we're saying. Ron Paul, Michael Mouse. They don't know who these people are. But even he liked the song. He's like, "Oh, this is a good song. This like sounds like a party banger," like,
right?
And I just thought that was great. And like my goal with the music is yes, propaganda, but I also want to enjoy it, and I
Mhm.
have been finding myself really enjoying like the musical process,
Me too.
and I've always liked karaoke anyway
Right.
and dancing. So, I enjoy it. So if I can spread some liberty, create some propaganda through some music, I think I will. 'Cause it's really fun. So
It is fun.
so Tom Wood's house, that was really cool. Um gonna be recording that, you know.
Mhm.
So that music video is
Yeah.
gonna be really fun this year.
Going to the Tom Woods 2000s to shoot it, so
Yeah,
Mhm.
the 2000s podcast.
Yeah.
Don't know if any of you guys were ever at the 1000s, but
That was a fun one.
that was very fun. So the 2000s one will be really fun, and we're gonna shoot the music video there for Tom Wood's house. So
Mhm.
more details to come. We'll definitely organize something more formal about the video, and if you want to be in it, what that entails.
Mhm.
So yeah, so that's really exciting. The other song was "I Did Not Consent," and Jack got in on there and screamed, and it was really good at screaming. So
Yeah. That song was a lot of fun doing, the screamo parts for that.
I love the engineer. He was just like, "Whoa, wow!" When you started like doing your
Mhm.
screamo, he's like, "Oh my god, wow, you're so good."
It helped that
So
we had done a bunch of Pink Pussy shots. That
oh,
definitely
with
was,
him.
like, getting me in the groove for
Was
that.
that so? Did we take the
We
pink pussy shots
we
before
took
you
it, yeah,
screamed? Or did you
because
scream
yeah,
it?
when we did the break, we, like, took a break midway through our session and got some
Oh,
drinks, and then that kinda gave me an extra, like, energy boost, and I felt
yeah,
really good,
you're
and I
right.
get
I
a good
remember
take
that
of it,
now.
so
you're, you're really feeling it. You yelled.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was great.
That was fun.
And then the last song was really fun, like the
And the
Fed
Fed.
song, that 80s synth vibe throwback. Like I really
Right.
enjoyed that. I actually really like the song. I've been playing it, working out or whatever, just because
And it's a
I
little
like the
history
sound
song
in the
too, you learn
background.
about what actually happened.
Yeah, yeah. Someone asked, "What's the significance of black and gold?"
I mean, it's the traditional colors of, you could say, uh, ANCAPism/libertarianism. Some people talk about the gold or yellow representing, gold like as market money,
Gold standard.
black meaning, black flag, anarchy or liberty. But there's some other interpretations too, but that's, most common.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so definitely check out those songs if you haven't yet. They're on SoundCloud and on your YouTube, and we got some more songs coming out too. We've been practicing, so it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Someone said "And the Fed" was a banger. Oh, thanks, Roger. I
Roger
just
said.
validate. But it's really fun. I'm enjoying it. And we, I don't know if you guys saw any of my stories yesterday, but we're working on more songs. So
Mhm.
you'll definitely see more from us when it comes to music. And then we have an event with Liberty Doll. I'm
Mhm.
really excited for that, to
Right.
finally meet her in person. Um, get to meet fans in person as well. There's going to be a VIP hangout, which it's actually almost sold out, right? I think
There's only one seat left in the
yeah,
VIP. Yeah.
there's one ticket left for the
Mhm.
VIP meetup. So there's 3 sessions for the event. You could do the hour VIP hangout at the end. And each session's like an hour, and then the other 2, there's the first, which is like the photo op, also a talk. So we'll
Mhm.
do like a talk, Liberty Doll and I, and then we'll just do breakout, like do take photos together and things like that. So that's the photo op. And then the second one is the range event. So
Mhm.
we'll go and you can bring your guns and ammo and you shoot.
Right. Pistols only for the pistol. Right.
Practice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a
Or
pistol
pistol
rifle.
ammo. I mean, you can technically shoot like
Oh,
a
pistol
9
carbine.
millimeter, right?
Yeah.
Pistol carbine, or you could
Mhm.
shoot like, an AR styled gun in 22 LR, whatever. It's,
Yeah.
But
Right.
yeah, it'll be on the 15-yard.
Yeah. So that's really exciting. And so a couple
Yeah.
already huge events, like to get to hang out with Liberty Doll and to get to go to Tom Woods 2000s. Like that's really cool.
Mhm.
We already know there's several of our friends going that we get to see again,
Mm.
So I'm really excited.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. We'll definitely be having like a dinner event and a couple of things. So it'll be probably probably one of the biggest Liberty events, maybe even better than Freedom Fest in some ways,
you mean
which
the
we're not going to.
2000s?
The 2000s podcast,
Oh yeah.
Talmud's podcast, yeah, because it's gonna be a
It
lot
felt
of
like
people
that
there.
at the 1000s. I mean,
Yeah.
you had Michael Malice there, Eric July.
Mhm.
Who else? Tom
Lots of
Woods.
people. Yeah, Michael Bolin.
Oh yeah. Oh wait, was he there at the
Mhm.
1000?
Oh yeah, he was there.
Oh, okay. I just like barely got to hang with him.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah.
And then Jimmy said, "Is any rock metal in the works?" Yeah, there's a rock song, another hardcore song in the works, and we also have kind of like
hardcore.
a emo trap, like hardcore trap song that's gonna be
Yeah.
hilarious. Like you're gonna love it. It's gonna definitely connect with some
We
people.
have so many songs in the works.
That's true. We got a lot.
It's really fun. So hopefully you guys are enjoying it. It seems to be getting good reception. It seems a lot of people are finding it fun to share this music around
Right.
with friends and stuff and be like, look at this.
Mhm.
So Mask Order, I think it passed 60,000 views, if I'm not mistaken. Like,
Mask Order, yes, I think it's near 63,000. The song and music video.
Okay, yeah. So it,
Mhm.
yeah, surpassed 60. So really cool. It beat ANCAP Grind, right? Is that
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, it's higher than
Yeah.
ANCAP Grind
So
right
now
now.
it's already higher than ANCAP Grind. It's
Yeah.
gonna outweigh less. Yeah.
I think
way,
because
way
the message
shorter.
is very timely and people are tired of all the nonsense with the lockdowns and shutdowns.
Right. Whereas ANCAP Grind, I don't know how timely of a search phrase that is.
It's
but
more, you're right. That's just like
Yeah.
in group stuff.
Yeah. But Mask Order.
Yeah. Obviously, I mean, yeah.
A lot of people are affected.
More people are waking up to the nonsense that
So-
all the mask orders are because it's total. It's so theatrical. It's hilarious. It really
Yeah.
is so
I always
insane.
feel so weird looking at people when they have masks. Like I don't know where to look. Like it's almost like they have a lazy eye. Like
Mhm.
just because you can't see their expression,
Yeah.
so you're just looking at their face, but like you don't know if they are alienated by you or what, because it's really hard to just with someone's eyes like know.
Unless they're really
Um,
expressive with their eyes, like
Yeah, and they're
Mhm.
saying something.
right.
But if they're silent, like it's kind of hard. You don't know if they're like squinting at you because
Mhm.
they're judging you or they're like actually smiling under that mask.
Right.
So I always find it like weird to just see people masked, and it's very dehumanizing, you know,
Mhm.
because it kind of like it's almost like blurring their face out, effectively. Not totally, but most of your face is
Well, a big
blurred
part of
out.
communication is facial expression. Like language is more than just the words. It's
Yeah.
tone. It's your body language, your face, like all
Yeah.
the different moves of your lips and nose and
Right.
eyes are all making together that can, make an expression. So you lose a significant portion of
Mhm.
your communication. So yeah.
Yeah, like just now, if I just look at your eyes and like I ignore your nose and your mouth,
Hmm.
like I would just see your eyes like widen every so
Mm.
often. Like, you okay? Like, it
Right.
just-
Yeah.
But yeah, no, and it's also how like you learn if someone's safe to be around because you see their expression, right? You
Mhm.
usually it helps you like judge their immediate intention, usually. Like whether they look like really distressed or not, or their mouth is like frowning or something like that.
Right.
So, yeah, it's interesting, but I think things are starting to let up, at least around here. I don't know about, well, other states seem to be still locked down. So,
Well, the worst states, are doubling down. The ones that are on the border are starting to like open up now, like Texas and stuff. Finally, which was ridiculous that they even had that. But
for so long too, in
yeah,
Texas.
that's crazy.
Yeah. I saw a really funny meme. It was like, it said ND, which is
Mhm.
North Dakota, right?
Yeah.
And so it was like the guys on the trophy, so first, second, third place. And then the third place guy is like, yeah, woo, he's like, I did it. I'm third place,
Yeah.
So it's just like number 1, North Dakota, 2, Florida, number 3, Texas. And it's like, yeah, we did it. We're living, we believe in freedom.
Yeah.
And like Abbott coming out and like suddenly having this rhetoric.
Yeah, it's so
Oh
ridiculous.
my gosh. Is it almost time for re-election season for him or something? Like, I gotta whip out the old rhetoric that got me elected.
Yeah. No, it's
Reopen
insane.
things again and try to save some face.
Right. Well, now the
Wow.
damage is done. So
That's
all those
ridiculous.
states, basically the governors did so much
Cheers.
damage. Chaz.
This is for Robert. Thanks for your super
Yes.
sticker.
Thank you, Robert.
I want to see what it is.
Yeah. All those different governors in, like California, New York, and so forth. I mean, completely destroyed the economies there, and did so irreparably. Like the trust level there is so broken that now it's going to be continuing to just completely collapse in those places, because what's happening, of course, is anyone who was on the edge before about leaving the state is definitely gone, and then people who were like really like wanted to stay there have definitely been pushed to their edge of being like, okay, I can't even like trust that I can stay here and my business won't be just shut down, or if you have a certain type of business or a rental property, whatever, like that, it's just going to all be wiped out. So it's like they're going to all flee to states that during 2020 there wasn't at least as bad of lockdowns or shutdowns, or had none, which that's very few. But
no state income tax or lower tax in general.
People are fleeing, and obviously Californians, there's a huge flight to Texas, Florida, Tennessee, a few other places. So
and out of New York, right?
Oh, and New York, the taxation stuff definitely was starting that, and now it's New York.
I've started to see a lot of New York license plates around here. So
yeah, I mean it's very.
I'm like,
clear.
Stay out of my state. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I love that joke. Okay. Well, thanks, Robert. Cheers.
Well, I'll drink to that.
This is a really strong drink. What you put in here?
I put Grey Goose.
Grey Goose.
And some blue curacao.
You guys want a non-Liberty song? It's just called Grey
Watermelon
Goose.
Pucker is great.
And it's just like absolute club, like drinking and promiscuity. Cheers. Come on, that's all the rage.
Cheers to Robert Friel for this one.
Just kidding. Making songs about promiscuity, dissociating, cheers. Okay, thanks, Robert.
But yeah.
Anyway, it's really strong.
So, with everything going on, if you're trying to prospect for the future, really obviously economically, the people who are in the worst states, who have something to lose or have already lost a bit, are seriously trying to leave. And of course, the number of people who are moving out of places like New York and California were absolutely, off the off the charts level, of movement, because it's just so many people who are like, okay, yeah, this is my tipping point. I can't live like this anymore. Fortunately,
when you're that suppressed, I mean, they already had a state income tax and gun control and stuff, but that really pushed a lot of people who were already dealing with a lot over the edge to be like, you know what, screw this. I can't even go outside.
Right.
Like I can't even go outside and enjoy New York and ignore the fact that I'm a tax slave. You know what I mean? Like I can't even go to these cool like restaurants and places. That pushed a lot of people out, and to find places that kind of reminded them of New York or LA, if that's where they're fleeing, or California, like Austin, Texas. I mean, definitely. It's kind of the liberal leaning. I've heard it had mask mandates, I believe. So, but it is kind of like this interesting metropolis of cultures and food and stuff like that. So a lot of people like that. But you see that kind of fleeing, or Miami's another one.
Sure.
So, hey,
and
Justin.
I think that in addition to that, the number of people who are leaving are probably, some people are like, oh, the people who are leaving are just bringing in, the policies from their states. But I disagree with that in this case. I don't think that that's the case. I do think that from what I've seen, the people who are willing to move tend to be on the conservative to libertarian spectrum, because those are the people who are really like, had enough. The other people, by and large, like are the truly sick, sociopathic, borderline people who are like, yeah, lock me down harder, daddy. You know what I mean? Those kinds of like lifelong, Democrat, or
they sound masochistic,
progressive leftist, central planning loving kind of people. Those people are willing to, knuckle it up in those states, whereas everybody else is like, okay, yeah, I'm done. And that, I think that's going to ultimately change the representation in Congress. I think there, some people were concerned like, oh, what's going to happen here, with the voting trends and stuff like that. And I'm just like, well, if you look and you take a look at the numbers, the people who are leaving these other states, I think you're going to see loss of representation in the House with places like New York and California, and it's going to go red. Again, I'm not saying this in a, in anything other than just the mainstream status sense, I'm just describing the political reality. I think it's going to tilt that shift. So I know some people worried about voting and stuff like that in terms of like voting, irregularities. But I think that regardless of those things, if you look population wise, I think there's going to be some interesting outcomes from this in terms of, reappropriation or reportioning of representation that's going to come. So that's going to be fascinating.
Yeah.
So you're saying here, Justin.
Oh, thanks, Justin.
Thanks, Justin.
Fortunately, money's a little tight. That's all I can spare. Well,
thank you. Cheers.
Thank you. That's like you bought me a drink. I like your content. I want to support y'all as best I can.
Drink to that.
Hopefully everything's okay for you. I hope you.
Cheers.
It sounds like you're at least surviving.
Yeah. No, I mean that's really above and beyond in this tough time. I know it's tough for a lot of people. So. Cheers. I mean, yeah. If you're lucky, you might get $1,400 or something. I hear, but yeah. That's interesting too, right? The bait and switch with all that.
So many stimulus checks, but
right. They're like at first like to get votes
with other legislation too, just like mixed in this behemoth of legislation. It's crazy.
Yeah.
They didn't teach you that in school, like how political it is.
How political it is.
Just the whole process of like getting bills passed, or like
I see
how. The bills that are passed, like usually there's so much in it, and usually that has nothing to do with the title of the bill. Like there's so many issues or things that it's trying to address all in one. It's not like a single issue addressing bill a lot of times. So
right,
I don't know. It's
no,
just
of course
like,
they're trying all the carnism they can.
Yeah, I just find it interesting. In my lifetime of the past kind of 10 years, getting out of school and realizing like, wow, a lot of the things, most of the things I was taught about government is just not true, or just overly simplified to the point of being inaccurate, to being just like, no, that's not how it works.
Right. No, absolutely. It's
it's not like,
firsthand.
Your friendly government wakes up, he's like, I'm gonna protect my citizens today. It's like, it's more like, ooh, how do I get that bag? How do I get that money in like the least effort possible? And this person might be like, well, I don't want to be a programmer. I don't know. I don't want to be, etc. I like, maybe I was a salesperson. I'm really good at speaking, or maybe I was a lawyer. I'm really good at debate. I'm going to run and be a politician. And, people might pad your pockets to vote a certain way or whatnot. Or you might just get pressure from your peers if you're in Congress. So, interesting things that you didn't learn, but
right. No, it's true. What's used in school is basically glowing language and glittering generalities that cover up the actual nature of what happens in government, with just like, kind of simplistic statements like they're there for the people. Right. They're trying to protect and serve the nation. Like just, and you're like, what? Like, no. They're just trying to get reelected, and in that process, gather as much power, influence, and resources they can for themselves and their connected peoples and friends. And that's about it. Yeah.
Someone said, nice shirt. Thanks, Alan.
Yeah.
I like it too. I like it. Thanks, Mises Caucus, for sending this to me. It's cute.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. School.
No, they're doing good stuff there over at the Mises Caucus. So
they are.
I like what they do because I'm not really a political person, like in terms of I mean, we're both, neither of us really like politicians and politics because obviously
just the whole nature the act of politicking.
Right. But we do recognize, if I may, confirm, tell me if I'm wrong, but we both do agree that there is value to trying to reach people through the political process of trying to get people who are paying attention during
like Ron
that time.
Paul. I mean, he's one of the most prolific mind changers towards liberty, I would say. And he was a congressman for 40, 50 years?
A little less than 50, but career politician, but
career politician, right? And that's usually what you may stereotypically think you wouldn't look up to, but he changed so many people's minds.
And that's just it. There's some people who they only listen every 4 years when there's elections going on because they don't care about politics generally, but sometimes like, oh, I'm so tired of this, and just they're stealing my money. And it's just, I think it is an important avenue to reach people in the political realm, like
Yeah.
who are just saying what else is out there, and just to have something that like starts them down the path of liberty. Because you
And
got
it
to start
gives them
somewhere, right? You got to start somewhere,
Right.
you know, and for some people, like, oh, why don't you just say, that just be a voluntarist anarcho-capitalist right away? It's like that's just not realistic for most people. Like most people have so much brainwashing going on that they need the baby steps, like one little overturned stone at a time kind of thing. You know what I mean? You keep moving, and breaking it down, and then eventually I mean, of course, there are some people who can get it right away and like, oh, I get it, I'm a voluntarist, and it's like awesome. But some people need like okay, I can see where you're coming from. This policy, maybe war does have consequences and blowback, and
and some people
right,
never do, and they forever hate libertarians.
That's true too. So people are just like, you don't care about the
You're
poor.
libertarians.
You're selfish.
You just want to leave everyone alone.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
You just
It's funny.
don't want to control people
Right.
in their lives. So.
But yeah, anything possible. I mean, I'm an all avenues person. Like anything
Yeah.
possible to try to reduce the state's violence,
I don't
against
look
people.
down on politicians. I mean,
So.
look, if you have a passion for liberty and you're really eloquent, whatever, you have a passion for changing minds and speaking
Right.
in front of crowds and trying to be a thought leader, do it. Do your best.
Yeah.
Try. And
It's unfortunately few and far between who can
it's
actually do
hard.
that well.
and stay principled.
And stay relatively principled
it's both.
in the minarchist,
Yeah.
realm. It's tough.
You often get one or the other. You often get, okay,
Yeah,
they
no.
stay principled, but
Yeah.
they're not as influential or they're not very eloquent or good
Right.
at speaking. Or on the other hand, they really are, but they're like sophistic and they're actually
Right.
statists.
It's tough. It's really
I
tough.
know.
I mean, Spike Cohen's a good example of someone who,
Yeah, rare.
right, one of those
Very
rare people
rare.
who just, again,
The Waffle
he's-
Caucus.
yeah,
Is he now the Mises Caucus? or-
he has support from the Mises Caucus.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
But he's obviously
The
himself
waffle.
a principled, voluntarist ANCAP, but
Yeah.
he ran to try to change minds, and he is very articulate and good at, reaching all different types of people. Like he just is excellent at reading social situations and understanding what people need to hear to kind of like turn
Yeah.
their ear a little bit and get them to
Right. He
actually
tailors
understand it.
his message to whomever he's speaking to based on what
Right.
he thinks.
And not like
everyone's
politicians who like lie to different groups where it's like,
Yeah.
I promise, I'll give you free health care to one group. And then the other group like, well, not total, free health care.
Yeah,
And then, what I
yeah.
mean? Like typical politician-y.
We will
lies.
keep your Medicare.
He'll keep you keep your doctor,
right.
no, it's just different ways of
If
issues.
you like your doctor.
Right. Just different ways of focusing on issues and understanding the situations and
Yeah.
relaying, why liberty is the solution, not more government.
Yeah. yeah.
So, but hey, what's up, Anarcha Rica?
Anarcha Rica.
Yeah.
Like Costa Rica. That sounds like a great place to like name of libertarian like city. Anarcha Rica.
But just note, if you need a place to set your beautiful alcohol glasses on, a good coaster is to set it on a taxation staff coaster.
Yeah.
So just saying,
I like
the campaign's almost. We love them. We actually,
I mean, seriously,
really
I
use
don't
them at
know.
our house now.
I've looked at all kinds of coasters, believe it
They're
or not.
awesome.
I've looked at all kinds of materials. Hey, look, here's one. See, this is one that we've had. But the problem with this is like when water like starts pooling, then it like sticks to the cup.
It also doesn't say taxation is theft in it, so that's kind of a not as good thing.
True.
Yeah.
It's not as aesthetically pleasing to look at. Actually,
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's mine. Thank you.
It's yellow. It's gold.
I know. I mixed my melon, so I have some melon,
Oh.
and then I mixed my watermelon.
Uh-huh. That's how it turns gold.
I
Would
got
that be
melons.
purple?
Apparently,
Oh no, it'd be orange.
I mean it's pink and green, and it,
Right.
for
that
whatever
would be
reason, came out
orange.
to like this weird gold color,
Huh.
which I'm happy about. I feel like I'm drinking an ANCAP drink or something.
Neato. All right.
But-
well, gosh.
That's so good.
We're gonna have the event in Florida. So I don't know if anyone's near Florida,
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
that's where it's gonna be.
Yeah.
So
And there's going to be more events. Fingers crossed. Again, if this event goes over successfully and there's no problems, and it looks like it's
Yeah.
going to work out for the future, we're actually going to be hosting a number of events. We're going to be having multiple throughout the year with different cool Liberty people of, different types of, activism or interest. Started with some people who do gun stuff, but branching out eventually to doing, other things, and people who are, creatives or musicians or whatever, just, come out, have a little speaking fun, either talk or mixer, things like that. So
yeah, dinner, hang out, one of those.
Yeah.
I think, for me, I mean, I'm an extrovert. So in general, I would want to do events. But last year, with all the shutdowns and the canceling of our Vegas plans and our plans to go to Washington and see family and stuff, it's just like, it's made me really want to make up for that.
Right.
And make up for all the shutdowns, and also to create kind of places for people to meet up, create basically what they are, our meetup events. Network not just with us or the guests that we invite, like Liberty Doll, but also the other guests that are going to come too. Like you might, find another friendship or more. So yeah, we also just want to help build a community and create places for people to come hang out and be free and network with some cool people. So yeah, Pork Fest would be cool.
We don't
Freedom
do camping
Fest
as much.
would be cool, but
I really want to go to Freedom Fest so badly, but we just
me
can't make
too.
it work because it's so far.
Tom Woods is going to be there. Lou Perez,
people.
Jeffrey Tucker. I can't.
I know. I'm
It's
gonna
in
be
South Dakota,
depressed about
right?
that.
Not in Vegas this time.
It's in South Dakota.
Yeah, South Dakota.
Man.
Why did they do Florida?
I
Okay.
know. Well, because South Dakota was 100% open the whole time.
That's
So
true.
they're like, why would you have an event anywhere else? I mean, it made sense. It's
Yeah.
the most secure place you can have an event, knowing full well the governor said,
Right.
nope, we're not doing any of this at all. I mean, she was the best. And I'm really, pissed off that more governors, who are sympathetic didn't follow her, boldness. It's pretty pathetic. But,
Yeah.
I mean, it shouldn't even be boldness. It should just be the default. Like, it's just, what I mean? Oh, the default. Oh, yeah. Let people choose. Like, duh. Like, stop trying to centrally
That would
plan
be
everything.
nice, huh? If you could at least rely on that.
Yeah, right? Like,
That no matter what, it just is a line that's not crossed.
right.
But
It's like, okay, yeah, people are sick. They die and stuff like that. Okay, great. Let
Even in
individuals
Florida,
choose their individual risks.
they shut things
end.
down for what, 2 or 3 months?
No, it was
Or-
shorter than that, I think.
Okay. But right, they did at least.
It
It
was-
was not nearly as long as some of the.
It was not nearly-
states
it was
who
definitely
are still
like-
going
right.
a year ongoing, which is crazy.
Yeah.
A year, like you imagine a year. I mean, gosh, I just can't believe though. And I've met people like this. They've been locked down, but they're still like, yeah, I know, I can't believe it. It's been a year, but I just gotta wait in line for my vaccine. And that's the socialism part too. You can't even get
Yeah.
the vaccine if you want to, and you're like 20.
Right. Because they're picking and choosing.
25. Yeah, you gotta, depending on the state you're in, you gotta be okay. Are you over 60? Or do you have this? Blah 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 blah.
Right.
You know,
Which the vaccine's so dumb anyway because
do you have
they're like,
diabetes?
oh, you can
Do
still
you have,
spread it.
whatever thing.
Right.
And if you're like otherwise healthy, but you still want to get the vaccine for whatever reason, you don't even have the choice because there's a line. Because, well, it's like being chosen. The government's
Mhm.
selecting who can even
Mhm.
get it, which is insane.
Right.
Because, like, if someone who's passed or who's eligible doesn't want to take it, and there could be many of those, there probably are who just don't want to take it and they're eligible, like, it just shouldn't be up to the state. It should just be up to the individual. Be like, okay, you know what? I want to get the vaccine. I'm go get it.
I wish seriously, I wish there was price discrimination with the
It's just
vaccine
so
because
annoying.
honestly, all the stupid people were like, please just give me the,
Yeah.
shoot me up. They would pay exorbitant amounts of money to have it and then be soaked of their money for doing it. It's like, please
I
let,
want that
let
to
these people
happen.
lose their money. Like,
Yeah,
my God,
exactly.
like,
right.
it's
And I want
let them
to spend
subsidize
it.
their own waste of
Right.
time.
I don't want to be forced to fund the vaccines. For
Right.
others. Like,
Which it is government subsidized vaccines, literally, and
yeah,
fast tracked in many countries.
right.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's so insane. It really is. It's like the ever moving goalpost just makes it so clear that it has nothing to do with health and safety. It is literally just random
Political
arbitrary rules
control.
to try to see who's willing to jump through the hoops and get people acclimated to obedience. And that's it. Because in reality, the hard reality is the masking doesn't do jack in terms of, again, even if you used a good mask, nobody wears it right. Like literally nobody, you know what I mean? If you're working a job and you're wearing it for several hours, everybody is lifting at some point and touching. They have an itch,
and I gotta say,
wiping,
people,
sweating.
especially at restaurants,
Oh,
who,
yeah.
who have to, or any job where you have to move around,
Oh my God.
they look so miserable. Especially, you can really tell when they're wearing glasses, they look like they're just in a sauna. But when they don't have glasses, like they just look miserable. They're sweating under there. They like can't, you can see them pull it away from their mouth. I've seen this, like not under, like on their chin, but just like away from their face.
Right.
And then they like breathe, and then they let it go.
Right.
So it, like,
and they
snap
their
it
mouth
back again. Yeah. And then that moisture from your mouth and the sweat on your face just sits there, and it's dark and it's moist. It's just so gross. And it may have bacteria because maybe you just ate lunch. Right. So you got a little, I don't know, whatever food.
Right. You throw it on your
your mouth, your face with something. And now it's like incubating in there, and you're creating this cesspool. Like, it's gross.
It's so because like we're out a lot. Like some of these like homebodies who are like really into this and like have like a mania about the mask. Like I think they're genuinely so out of touch with like empirical reality. Like we go out all the time to different restaurants and events and other stuff like that. And so we watch what people do, like whether it's this fast food worker in the drive-thru, whatever. And you just sit there and you can watch, for whatever amount of time. And again, within a short amount of time, and it's just natural because again, it gets uncomfortable. They're touching it.
Yeah.
They pull it off. They have an itch. They scratch. They need to breathe. They're sweating. They wipe it off. They pull it down a little bit. They take a cigarette break. They eat their food. God. They pull their chin. They go to the bathroom with it.
They go to the bathroom.
Right.
They poop on the toilet.
Right. And particles are in there.
Poop. They just go to the bathroom where other people pooped.
Right.
And they wash their hands. Or they like go outside and they put the mask on their chin and they're like smoking cigarettes. Like some ashes are falling on their mask. It's just,
and like
so backwards.
The most funny one for sure, 100%. This is the most ridiculous is someone wears a mask just as they get, about to go into a restaurant, 100% capacity. They throw it on. They walk for 3 seconds to be seated. They take it off and then they sit for like an hour or two eating, chopping food sloppily. And literally they're way less than 6 feet around all the people because 100% capacity. They're eating the whole time, right? With everybody talking, breathing. It's an indoor environment, right? So you have your AC units blowing air across everybody. And then they do that for a while. And then it's like, oh, I got to put my mask on really quick to walk back out. And then just take, it's, when you see that, I think that's the cool part is that at least there's some people who see the empirical reality and like, oh wow, this really is just total bullshit. Like, what I mean? Like you just watch like this is not doing anything. Like you're past the point when you have people sitting for hours together inside, breathing, eating together.
Can I just say, I'm sure everyone has seen this guy so far. Like the big dude with like a big beard and the mask is like this way, it's like this way, and it's like not sealed. Right. It's like
because if you have facial hair, it's not it has gaps.
Yeah, not like sealed against your chin. So it's just so funny. I've seen that so many times. I just look and I'm like, okay,
you have no seal
all right.
Like you have a beard. If you have facial hair, you can't. You have to shave. Like if you actually want a mask to work effectively, again, I'm just saying to like the real use of masks, if you're actually trying to use it for a real purpose, like you can't have facial hair.
I've seen the beard masks. Have you seen the beard masks?
Well, where it's on the beard?
I'm like that. Okay, can I just want to stop the guy. I just want to be like, and just tell you, this is not helping you medically. There's no seal. But this is helping you keep your beard hair out of my food.
That's true. That's about
great.
It. Yeah.
It's literally effectively like a food net.
It basically is
which is required usually when by most restaurants, like when you're preparing food, just keep your hair out the way. That's just what I've seen is like long mask. I'm like, that's just a hair net.
Comedic.
So
it's true. It really is a test in sanity because it's like if you are somebody who cannot watch what's happening, right? You're in a working environment, whatever. And you're watching other people and you see how people wear it throughout the day. And you do this again, day after day. Maybe you're a little low on the observation of other people. But if you do it day after day and you're watching how people actually normally use what they wear, like actually real world use, and you don't sit to yourself after doing this for at least several days, maybe a week or two at most, and say, wow, this literally makes no sense. There's something wrong with you. You know what I mean? There's literally something wrong with you if you
Yeah.
can't connect to the dots and be like, huh, the way people actually use masks, you know what I mean? They actually are touching all the time, moving it, breathing out the side. It's not sealed. And then be like, and I think that evidence is
Yeah.
corroborated in virtually every state, because without getting into the fine details of, you know, testing in terms of, you know, false positive negatives and, you know, self-selection bias, just the general curves of everything, whether it's death, cases, whatever, every state basically has followed the same pattern. Like literally every state has basically followed the exact same pattern throughout time of like increases and decreases. Because at the end of the day, it was always going to be that. You know what I mean? It's just like you were never, no one's never going to meaningfully stop the virus with people like just living their lives. You know what I mean? It was going to spread no matter what. So, you know, to me, it's one of those
Yeah.
things that's just
And that was
very
the ultimate
silly.
question of
Yeah.
like, you know, some people, like all these like Hollywood celebrities living in Hollywood Hills, you know, in these beautiful mansions and personal chefs and you know, someone shipped, you
Right.
know, person who brings them their groceries. Like
Yeah.
they just live in an absolute luxury. And they're like, "Come on guys, you got to not be selfish. You got to stay inside." Okay? Like it's just so ridiculous. Just
Right.
to see them like on that level, it's like, okay, you can afford it, but there are literally people who, even, you know, knowing that it's flu season or knowing that coronavirus is going around, that they have no choice but to work. And who is
Right.
the government to come in and say you can't choose to work? You know?
Right.
So, you know, there's a different thing of like whether, you know, there would be charities to help people who would rather stay home for a little bit because they're worried about the virus, whatever. I don't know. Market things would arise, but at least the state should not come in and just like unilaterally decree like nobody can work today. And especially because that's just interfering with someone's life, you know. What if you're 54 and you're trying to pay off your mortgage and you don't have the ability to wait a month, 2 months, 3 months and not work? You don't have that savings. Maybe you're living paycheck to paycheck. So it's just insane to just be like shut down and then told, okay, wait for a check that's going to be bundled in with a bunch of other crap legislation, where there's going to be so much more money printed and handed off to other people who are already super rich. You know, like it's just pretty crazy.
It is. It is a true, you know, distancing intellectually from empirical reality. It is people who are so out of touch. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, they're creating a divide, I think, amongst humanity of, you know, really obedient order followers who are really scared and like living in absolute fear and are being conditioned to see you, someone who values liberty, as this terrorist, like an evil person.
Well, that actually is the worst part of all this, is that the idea of what has been ingrained in people's minds via the government and mainstream media is the idea that you're guilty until you're proven innocent. So literally Corona situation makes it so it's like, oh, you're automatically by default of your existence a virus spreader.
Yeah.
And you're bad and you're evil if you do anything.
They assume you have it.
Right.
So
even though it's like, yeah, there's no actual proof or disproof here of whether you have something in the first place. It's just you're guilty by existence of, you know, just being yourself out and not having on a mask or whatever. It's you're, whether that's true or not, whether you actually even have it or not, it's just you're automatically some evil thing. And I think it really does actually match a lot of the rhetoric of, you know, early, you know, 30s Germany leading up to eventually, you know, what happened in the dehumanization campaigns, like, you know, just saying people are cockroaches and stuff like that. It's that level. It's that level of, oh, if you decide to be
Mao
free,
Zedong's,
you're
campaign.
Evil. You're yeah, exactly. Mao Zedong with
he
landlords,
dehumanized the landowners, private property owners.
Yeah, and again, not all those landlords are great, but again, they just murdered indiscriminately, and that was very bad. So, but
there's a lot of innocent.
Absolutely.
That got slaughtered, just families who owned farms for generations, just murdered by commies.
Well, that's the idea, is it's just dehumanizing people who are literally like, I just am living free. I literally am fine. or maybe even, and this is what's becoming more common actually, I had it already, right? Like how many people
Yeah.
at this point, there's literally
some
tens of
weird
millions of people who have like, I've either had it or
flu.
tested positive for antibodies, whatever.
Right. Loss of taste, loss of whatever.
Right.
Like constrictions in your chest.
What
weird
more do you want?
pneumonia.
Right. It's like, oh, you already had it. Well, you're still there's
Yeah.
still something wrong with you. You had it already, but it's like, why can't I be free? It's
Oh, and the narratives keep changing, right?
Yeah.
It was, hey, guys, don't worry. It's just 2 weeks to slow the spread. Remember?
Mhm.
That was the first one. 2 weeks to slow the spread, which means we know that it's gonna spread. We just want to slow it down. And we're socialists, so we think that the market can't keep up with supply and demand like it does every day. You know, and instead we need to come in and say like, hey, you can't provide these kinds of services, this hospital or these doctors. You can only like treat COVID patients, like, oh, here's some money if you mark a COVID death or blah blah blah. You know, so much interference. It's like, okay, but
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, I mean, through and through. I mean, from the beginning, the government forcibly subsidized ventilator use, which later turned out to actually be very deadly for COVID patients because
Yeah.
it caused a cytokine storm that is your body's overreacting to the virus. And then that, of course, elevated temperature levels, elevated people's histamine levels. They had coagulation issues and things like that. And then now the standard, protocol is to like deal with someone immediately with anti-inflammatory meds or anticoagulation meds. And so the government literally is responsible for incentivizing financially tens of thousands, if not at this point, maybe even 100,000 people dying because of the use of that. Is there any outcry about that, about central planning leading to more deaths because they made a mistake? No, of course.
Yeah,
the
where are
government
the-
does it.
Where are the protests
Yeah.
and the riots for that?
Right.
Well, it's not there because a lot of those people who would protest and riot have been bribed.
Right.
A lot of these people make more than they did working at whatever job they had, just from the stimulus check.
Some people who got extra benefits,
Yeah.
right, through the CARES Act make us some pretty sweet money.
No,
That's for
and just
sure.
think
That's for
about
sure.
that.
There
That's
were some
not-
people who hustled.
And it's some people
Yeah.
who, for them, it really isn't a tax return.
Right.
It's not even that. It's other people's taxes, things that have been taken from them. That's funding them. So it's just so unfair. It's so rigged. But yeah, so that's going on. Social conditioning, getting people to accept communism, but they get that communism and socialism still seen as like not a good system. So they have to say it's fair and equitable capitalism.
Mhm.
Wow, there's this new thing called fair and equitable cap, and like
Mhm.
it's just socialism disguised because it's all central planning at the end of the day of
Mhm.
like what's needed to be done.
All right. Government picking and
So.
choosing winners and losers. And well, I mean, in that case, we're saying state socialism, but
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
State's
rough,
gonna
man.
stay,
It's
it's
rough.
true.
It's rough out there.
But yeah, I'm still excited for the things that we have in our control, like trying to still network, trying to still go out, trying to still, live our lives and meet up with people and hold events and change minds. So
Right.
here we are in this together.
Yeah.
We're in this together. Remember all that propaganda?
It still is out there. It's
I started that.
it's so
saying they're
maddening. It
moving the
really
goalposts,
makes
but-
me angry. Like seeing that
Yeah.
stuff because it's so all clearly meant to collectivize and again, just like citizenship, like make people think that they're part of the government, right? It's the idea of, oh, you're a part of this. You have nothing to do with it. Cheers. But oh, you're in together. No, not at all. You're literally just being exploited by the government who used this opportunity to basically take people's money and their future, earnings through debt and put that money into the hands of their friends through corporate bailouts and aggregate more wealth in those limited, certain corporations that are favored on Wall Street by restricting small business activity, but allowing certain select favored companies to be able to operate. I mean, it
the
was the
huge
greatest wealth transfer.
corporations like Walmart and
Right.
they're allowed to stay open,
It was essential.
They're
2020 was the
essential.
greatest wealth transfer in
but they
American history.
closed a mom
Probably.
and pop shop that
Right.
sold similar things that Walmart does, but they're specialized. They only sell whatever lights, but they're shut down. But Walmart's allowed to sell lights because they're essential because they have
Right.
a grocery department, which means they're essential.
Yeah.
And,
mean, it was a comedic, if it would be more comedic, I guess, if not tragic show of what central planning looks like. 2020 was basically in many cases
tragic, definitely for
a microcosm of
people.
what socialism looks like, where you're like suddenly having imposed these arbitrary rules that make no sense, and it's being forced on everyone. And you're like, what the heck is going on? I mean, that's literally what it is. Like when you have state central planning and deciding for everybody what they must do, you get the worst outcomes of everything.
Yeah, for sure.
Including like, oh, here's arrows about where to walk down the aisles. Like I remember the grocery stores did that for a little bit. We're like, here, you walk down this aisle. And it's like, why are you trying to do this? Like, you're like, because basically what it would do is it would force more people to walk longer, right, up and down aisles because it was one way. So you're making people spend more time in the store actually instead of being able to go quickly, get in and out. And it's just, it's hurts. It really does hurt.
Thank you.
Oh, cheers to this.
Oh, cheers.
Thanks, Robert.
I'm out of alcohol.
Don't worry. Do you want 15% or 23% alcohol?
Lower. Is that watermelon?
Watermelon.
Oh.
Watermelon.
I'll have a little mix.
All right. Well, then I'll drop. You're going to be gone.
God. Thanks, Robert. I wish I could see the sticker. But
don't we all?
Don't we? Wow, it's like a chemical experiment. It's like it turns yellow.
It's just colors.
All right, cheers, Robert.
Now it's yellow. Cheers to you, Robert. Cheers.
It's yellow liquid. Okay.
It's yummy yellow liquid, I will say. That's the tastiest yellow liquid I've had in a while. Whew.
That's good. It's
good,
just,
right?
It's just strong.
Strong.
It's strong.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm so tired of these tyrants. Like, aren't you? I'm so
I guess
tired
that's why we're here and been here for 5 years.
Yeah.
No.
Well, that's why we're trying to make some changes. I mean, there are changes coming. I think that given how bad things were in 2020, it fortunately at least has pushed the pendulum back, and more people are starting to be like, oh, okay, screw this. Like they're getting more radicalized toward liberty, which is good. Yeah. But again, the big, statists also are themselves getting more radicalized toward tyranny. Like, yeah, I love being locked down. Lock me down harder, daddy.
I know.
Lock it
or
down.
Like the reaction to finally what the governor of Texas should have done like 20 years ago. No, I'm just kidding. But like, you know what I mean? He like finally undid the mask mandates and the shutdowns. He finally did that, for Texas. And there are a bunch of people like, oh my God, you're going to kill people.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, he just came out of nowhere as like suddenly he's on the side of freedom again, even though he like had it kept in place for like months, like at least almost a year, right? In Texas. Mm-hmm. I think Texas started a little, not right in March, but when they started, they stayed that way, I believe, just until now. They recently opened up. So
Justin said, wish could be more, but I'm digesting cost 2 new guns. Hey, that's
thanks,
a good
Justin.
thing to have. I'll drink to that.
I don't have any, I'm out.
Hey,
so,
no, I'll fill you up. Well,
cheers.
I'm only giving you watermelon this time because
okay.
Otherwise you die.
Oh, wish it could be more, but I'm digesting the cost of 2 new guns. Okay,
that's
I don't
nice.
blame you. That's a good.
That's a great excuse.
What kind? What make and model? If you don't mind, you don't have to.
Yeah, you don't have to.
And you should. Yeah, you don't have to. I know, Fed boy, right? And you should see what Latoya the Destroyer has done to New Orleans.
Yeah, New Orleans got really wrecked. I remember early on that when they were first starting to do the lockdowns, like they were trying to do crazy stuff in New Orleans, and people were pushing back then.
Wow.
Cheers to that.
Okay. I'm glad. Look how little he gave.
I gave so little.
Look compared to you.
Because any more and you're going to be redder than the CCP.
Cheers.
Cheers to that, Justin. Cheers to you. All right.
Yeah, don't ask me to do math problems right now.
Yeah.
I can't.
Mask problems.
Do you fucks with Young Ripa
59, aka Eric July?
I would love to hear you on his podcast.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I'm so glad you like my music. I want to fucks with him. I got to see him that sounds bad. That sounds really bad.
That's not really bad. That's going to be taken out of context now.
God. I said with.
Yeah, that makes it worse.
Okay, well, I'm just like restating his question.
No, yeah.
Okay, I'll just say yes.
Yeah.
But I would love to. He's cool. We met him at the 1000th podcast
did.
in person where he emceed for Tom
Yeah.
Woods. It's fun.
Yeah. I've had some
So-
history with him that wasn't favorable. I was on his bad side for a bit. There was some things that were true. There were some things that were I should have said
I
better.
was neutral. I
She was
witnessed,
neutral. But
but I
there's
was
a long
neutral.
history with it. But basically, I apologized to him and
Yeah.
and semi made up. But he really does his own stuff. Like he's very independent. If you haven't seen,
Mm.
so
Yeah, great stuff.
yeah,
his
yeah, we
music,
like what he
though.
does.
Would
It's
love,
just, yeah,
that'd be cool one day.
more today than ever. But
Yeah. Well, thank you.
yes,
Cool.
but yeah, we definitely gonna do some rapping. But well, I mean,
I like rap. It's hard.
yeah,
I know there's, some people when I post rap music, they're
Mhm.
like, I hate this rap crap. I like the message, but it's rap crap.
well, yeah,
And,
yeah.
I get that it's just taste. It's just subjective aesthetic taste. Just
Mhm.
like how, when I was growing up, I didn't really like metal. That was like the one genre that I was like, no, I don't like metal,
Mm,
or screamo. That was, me at the time. So again, if someone just doesn't like rap,
right.
but for me, I personally find it like, of course, it depends on the rapper, as with any talent, right? But the rap that I have seen has been like, really creative when it comes to using words and piecing words together and
Mhm.
telling a story or making it sound good or changing your inflection. So it's really cool. And I really want to try it and get better. So yeah, thanks everyone for your support. Who supports that and likes the music. I'm really happy to hear. I've always liked music, so it's fun to just try.
Should we
just
play
try that,
the song?
Yeah,
But
which
one-
one?
I can play it in the Fed right now.
We could play End the Fed.
All right, folks, this is your
We're gonna
chance
play
really
End the
quick. We'll
Fed.
play End the Fed, but yeah, just make sure your speakers aren't too loud.
Ooh, it's almost like a commercial break. I'm
Commercial.
gonna use the restroom.
You need to use the restroom? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, is this being heard right? Is it playing? Oh, it's
Oh,
okay.
is it playing?
Oh, it is. I just don't
The
think
wrong one.
I don't think I turned on the wait. Where is it?
Is it the front?
Yeah. Okay, it's definitely on.
Okay.
Okay.
All
right, that's
we're
definitely in.
troubleshooting. I
Hmm.
don't know if you guys can see us.
That's weird. This is supposed to be the computer volume.
Is it?
It is. Hold on. Oh, it says line to MGU. Oh, I wonder what happens if I do this.
All right. Well, I can sing
hear
it in the.
Are you ready?
Okay. Yeah.
1, 2, and the I want you. 1, 2, and the Fed. The creature from Jekyll Island. It's time to get out of debt. I need these feds out of my head. I want you to end the Fed. The creature from Jekyll Island. It's time to get out of debt. I need these feds out of my head.
Aldrich Warburg, David Smith, Sandra Lippin, Andrew, co-conspired, viciously enslaved me and you. 1910 was the year of evil after action, banking on a Fed Reserve monetary coup. They legislated secretly in perfect fascist fashion to cover their intentions of pillaging the masses. 1913 was the year they brought the bills to life. 'Twas the night before Christmas Eve, running
Let's
to
see
their house.
how
I
manipulative.
want you
Christmas
to
Eve, dude.
end the
Now you're gonna have a
Fed.
debate about it.
The creature from Jekyll Island. It's time to get out of debt.
So yeah, that's
I
the
need
song,
these
and I
feds
really
out
like
of my
it.
head.
It was really
I
fun.
want you to end the Fed. The creature from Jekyll Island. It's time to get
We got
out
more
of
bangers.
debt. Get these feds out of my head.
So yeah.
Yeah.
That was that song.
Yay! Someone's like, I
Yeah.
love it. I got beef.
Like, We lost 8 watchers
I
because we
love
played the
it.
song. No.
You're right.
No.
They're like, I'm getting out of here.
I'm getting out of
Or maybe
here.
they heard the song already.
Yeah.
I'm tired.
But that was a fun one. That was fun.
Cool. Well, so what else is going on?
What else going on? I mean, we could talk about all kinds of stuff.
I know. What happened with the Wall Street bets? What's the status of that right now?
All I heard last is just that, there's different lawsuits going on against the guy who had started it, and basically
Reddit,
he had
the
been
Reddit
hailed
guy.
into Congress to give
Yeah.
testimony. He had been hailed into his state legislature to give testimony. And
Excuse.
of course, it's all ridiculous and wrong.
Yeah.
It was very wrong what they did to him. He's just one more victim of state violence.
Right.
Oh,
Wow.
he said F it for the
Thanks,
cause.
Justin.
They are PTR 91 a score. Oh, he got a Scorpion Evo 3. Oh, God. I want one of those.
You should come to our range event. I
Yeah.
know you already said you.
All right,
could
cheers
do
to
good.
that. I will definitely drink
Cheers
that.
to that, Justin. I'm gonna try to stay conscious just to cheers.
Don't drink all of that.
Okay, I'll drink
You
a
might
sip.
die.
All right.
Yeah.
Cheers.
You may perish.
Justin.
Cheers. Yeah, cheers, Justin.
I took a little a sip. I was like,
I do want a Scorpion Evo 3, so I got some
Yeah.
big jelly vibes right there.
that's nice. Jelly vibes, huh?
Jelly vibes.
You jiggling?
Robert Friel said, I think I prefer Disney remakes to guns. Yeah, I prefer any Disney remake that involved a positive light and guns, honestly. That'd be nice. But it's, Disney. Oh my God. Like, what Disney's doing is just insane.
Yeah. Cheers, Robert. Oops.
Cheers. 3 times for cheers. To Robert, yeah. I mean, it's so clear that they've sold out to the CCP at this point. Like, it's,
Yeah.
they're just like, oh, okay, well, let's ensure that, we have our $1 billion plus market, and we
Right.
don't care about anything else because that'll pay the bills. If you can have it shown in China, you're good to go. So
Yeah.
they're like, okay.
I've heard of Odyssey, Rika. What's it like? Is there monetization options? I like platforms that like have the ability to somehow promote your work. Like Minds, I really like that you were able to promote with tokens and
Mhm.
boost your posts. So,
Are you on Odyssey though?
oh no, yeah, I just said what is it, but no, I'm not on it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rika. Cheers.
Right.
Cheers.
Cheers. And the Chinese Communist Party is CCP for those who are unaware. Chinese Communist Party.
Yeah.
So Disney, of course,
I'll be
in
right
wanting to, you can go
Cool
back.
Cats Party.
Okay,
Yeah.
good luck. So I'll explain it. So basically, since she has to go pee, I'll give a longer explanation. So here we go. So for those who don't know, what are you doing? Oh my gosh. Anyway, flashing that fiat. So, and that fiat that was like one of the prop bills from one of the music videos that we did. So the Chinese government, that is the Chinese Communist Party government, they have been, of course, bent on world domination, just like many people in heads of governments are. And in doing so, they really have done a great job, and I'm saying great as in from their perspective. They've done a great job of taking over the intellectual institutions in other countries and being able to buy up, land in other countries using special, you can call it predatory loans. So basically, they give loans to other countries who are in deep debt and then are able to buy up lots of land. So the Chinese government has been, on this path of trying to establish more influence across the world. And in that process, they leverage their, you could say, influence in media and entertainment by censoring or limiting what can be shown in the country for certain releases. So with Disney, if you want to have a certain movie be able to premiere in Chinese cinemas and sell merch and other things like that, you have to get approved by the CCP. That is the Chinese Communist Party and the government. So Disney caters to them and will, limit what is shown or show, only what it is that the CCP wants so that they can get approval to be able to show, whatever it is in China, because it's a lot of money. I mean, China, of course, has over 1.5 billion people. There's definitely lots of merchandising opportunities and things like that. So there's an incentive from Disney Corp to appease the Chinese Communist Party. And this appeasement, of course, extends beyond Disney. It goes to many different types of companies who are looking to have either sales or releases in, of course, China. And, the Chinese Communist Party is just basically like, you want to come in here and, have business, you got to play by our rules. And so there's a lot of controversy over how far different companies are bowing down to China, whether it's like censoring something about Tiananmen Square in a video game preview to, only showing certain things, favorably for the, Chinese government. Because of course you can't, criticize the Chinese government in China. It's basically the no-go zone. If you try to say anything against the Chinese government, you will most certainly, if you're a Chinese citizen, be met with police, secret police, possibly disappeared, and things like that. Many people who have criticized the Chinese government's policies have gone missing, been kidnapped, murdered, put into camps, a literal, you could say they call it re-education camps. It's really just, a form of torture camp, sometimes outright murder, but sometimes it's just, brainwashing, things like that. So it's something that you really need to be aware of and fully, I guess you could say, understand, because the Chinese government's power is that big, and it is that significant. In as much as if you think about the seriousness of the U.S. government's power in terms of wars and foreign policy and embargoes and things that can really affect people on an international scale, the Chinese government definitely has that level of influence and affluence. And so you have to realize how important it is to spread the message of liberty to those who speak Mandarin, things like that, and do your best to try to wake people up there, because the government's control over in China is so powerful, thanks to their social credit system, which is a type of monitoring over everyone using their cell phones and other types of social data, that it's an impressive Orwellian state. It is. They really have a strong system of authoritarianism to try to use social norms, that is, get other people to do the violence for them. So, and she's back.
Hello.
And beat you up. Said 5 more philosopher rap music.
Whoa! Cheers.
Cheers to that.
All right, take you like rap.
We have some more raps, that's for sure.
Yeah.
We do.
What's your favorite rap song? Beat you up. That's a cool name.
Cheers.
I don't know if I'd want to meet you. You might beat me up.
Yeah.
All right, cheers. I'm going to sip this slowly. We breathe and then sip.
That's so good right now. So someone said,
What
what did Jack do? I'm like,
what do you do?
So you're like, what do I do? I mean, just a little libertarian history, one of the original admins of Anarchy Ball, for those who know Anarchy Ball, okay? One of the OGs. One of the OGs.
Yes. One of the OGs.
Voluntarist comic series, The Honest Teacher, Red Flag Reality, The Philosopher, in terms of, creative content production, stuff like that. And Libertarian Guys with Asian Wives. My God, there's so many different things. Free market memes. I mean, there's some things I can't talk about, but there's so many different things that it goes on and on. But basically, do a lot of liberty stuff. So I make music. Nice. If you license music, we're down. Just give us your link. So,
yeah.
So we definitely do that. So
beat you up.
Come
on, man.
Are
you being Joe Biden? Come on, man. Yeah.
We had a huge talk about China and the censorship that's going on and what they're doing to manipulate Disney and other companies to say, if you want to play here,
sad.
You gotta.
I mean, we were supporting the Hong Kong protests, and that was gaining a lot of momentum in 2019. But in 2020, it just really snuffed it. Especially with the security law that they implemented in Hong Kong, the national security law they call it, to suppress like free speech and protests. So yeah, libertarian all day.
Oh, and Gary Cook here just came in because he says, I run the volunteers group in Facebook Friends, so I'll claim to fame.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Of course, you know you, Gary. Of course.
That's
So,
a big group.
That is a very big, it's one of the
Yeah.
largest voluntarist groups on the line.
Thank
so,
you for your service and your
yeah,
friends.
thanks for the service.
I know
So,
it beat you up. I knew you were probably like not gonna
Yeah.
do that, but
I would say right
That's fine.
now, like definitely trying to get Chinese people to become liberty lovers is so key. It actually is I cannot stress enough.
yeah.
That's part of why you exist.
Wait for what? Hong Kong?
Oh, just getting more Chinese people to love liberty,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because it's important. I mean, there's so many. There's literally. I'm just saying, in terms of the population, and the language, and the
Oh.
culture. Like, there's so many people there, and they're facing such great tyranny.
Unfortunately, I don't
you know.
speak fluent Mandarin or Cantonese.
We speak
so-
Cantonese.
and I don't write it. I speak a little Cantonese, but I can't write or read it. So, you know, I'm at a limitation and I definitely need like translators and stuff.
Mhm.
I wish I could, you know, I would love to be able to like just record a video easily because I speak the language fluently and
Right.
add subtitles because I know the languages and can translate myself. I would
Mhm.
love that. And I actually would have I want to take classes. Like I
Mhm.
want to take classes to actually learn Cantonese better. You
Mm.
know, I learned Japanese, which is really fun. Japanese to me was kind of like like there's simplified Chinese, like in terms of characters and how you write it. But I see Japanese as like simplified Chinese to me in that you do have like some Chinese characters and they call it not
Are you talking in Chinese?
oh
Or
kanji. They call it
kanji is Japanese, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the
Yeah.
Chinese characters that they adopted. And then
Mhm.
you have hiragana that they created and katakana. But
Arigato.
yeah, so it's kind of like a beginning. It was like, oh, and you might know some Chinese characters, but it's not like, you know, as much as you would need to know learning Chinese because there's
Mhm.
so many characters to it. And I remember my grandma saying like how many characters there are, and there's not one person that can really know all the possible Chinese characters there are to write because
Mm,
there's that many and there's so much to know. So
right.
it's really interesting. And I wish I could. I really, I wish I could just like, I see the Chinese people on Instagram and Twitter, they're writing in Chinese, and I wish I could like actually talk to them,
Right.
but I can't.
Yeah.
So unless they speak English, you know, they learn
English.
English. But if they didn't, unfortunately, there's that language barrier. So any of you libertarian Chinese people out there, like, we need your service.
They're in the Legao group, that's for sure.
Yeah. Maybe I gotta hit up the
Our
Legao
Legaoers.
group.
That's true. If you hit up the Legao group, they
It's like, can
libertarian
you
guys age
like,
wise.
help
Yeah.
me translate? You know,
Actually, no, I'm not even joking. This is not even farcical.
I'm
saying I'm
serious.
serious. Yeah, like we
no.
lots of different
Serious.
people in there speak all different types of, you
Yeah.
know, we have Chinese, Korean, you name it, Japanese. It's all.
Are you saying you got all types of Asians?
I got
in
all
there?
types of Asians in there.
You're like, we got Indian,
yeah,
we got
50 cent,
Japanese,
50 cent army.
Korean,
Yeah,
Thai,
libertarian half breeds
Cambodian,
right.
Jewish. I'm just
You
kidding.
wish.
That's not
Yeah.
Asian.
That's definitely not Asian.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Like
someone had
that.
asked, what's the difference between libertarianism and voluntarism, real quick? It
Ooh.
just depends on how you frame it.
Definitions,
A
yeah,
lot. There's
framing.
basically a lot of crossover. But voluntarism is the idea of maximizing consent, minimizing the initiation of force. It's an ideology rooting itself in that humans, you know, should try to work toward as much consent as possible in their relationships. Libertarianism, of course, in the small libertarian sense, is the same. It's just, you know, typically incorporating the private property right ethic as a default. But, you know, big L's might rationalize a state. Big L libertarians might say, oh, the government should be as small as possible, just like a night watchman state. But, you know, that's voluntarism is more like an ethical philosophy that
Yeah, it just focuses on individual
Pairs of
human
libertarianism.
interactions. Like,
Yeah.
what can you as an individual advocate for and stand for? And it's like, okay, don't advocate for violence, stand up against it, defend against it, you know. Versus like, you know, what kind of state do we need and is that ethical? It's just ignoring all that and just like, how should human beings interact with each other? You know. And we just say, voluntarists just say every single human interaction should be consensual.
Right.
So, and that's it.
Yeah. Try to.
And I
maximize
actually
it
like
for
that
them.
focus.
Me
I
too.
mean, I say libertarian and cat voluntarist all the time. Like those are the labels that I choose.
Right.
But out of all of them, I think voluntarist is my favorite framing just because of the focus is just simplistically like, hey, you know, do you wish for your consent to be violated? No, like that's not possible. Like, first of all,
Right.
but, you know, no, you don't want that, of course.
Right. It's
Like,
impossible. It's literally impossible.
yeah.
You
So-
can't want your consent to be violated.
Yeah,
It's
and everyone can agree. Like,
definitionally
when
not
you make a
possible.
decision, when you get told that someone's going to give you this because you're giving them $100, you expect them to deliver, you know? So, and then everyone has that kind of standard. It's just whether or not you apply that to others or not. And so that's why I like the framing of voluntarism, because it's focusing on how you should just apply that to others, and that it's just a really simple way for humans to coexist is if you just at the onset adopt this fundamental principle that each individual human being, no matter what age, should be respected in their consent, you know.
Right.
Then I think it actually is what enables humans to coexist and actually like create things together and build a more prosperous world, create wealth, you know, discover new ideas, debate, try to figure out what the truth is, you know, with all the different evidence or things you can see out there in this world. So, yeah.
Right.
So,
Absolutely.
I'm like, did I answer the question or did I just,
No, I
like,
think so. It was great.
rant?
It was great.
I got the pink juice. All right. Well, cheers. Not gonna cheers and drink.
Cheers to what?
Just like lit life.
Lit life. You-
Life.
Did we even get? Oh, we got a new supporter. Actually, I can drink to that. We have another
Oh,
backer on the Liberty
Wow.
Coasters.
I'm gonna die.
You will die. All right. Hey, well,
Cheers.
for those who are new here, we do have the Liberty Coasters, and we are supporting, sponsoring, whatever the heck. All right. Cheers to that. Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers. Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, we're cheersing to another support. I guess someone got
Sour.
some of the taxation of theft gear here. Some of the new coasters.
Hey, hey.
Yeah.
Too far.
Yeah, too
I'm
far.
like,
Hey. Yeah, they're super cool coasters. Seriously, like we're not like we're like literal believers. We are using them. We use them at home. They are.
Would you say you're
that
a
good.
believer?
I'm a.
A belaborer?
I definitely believe in this.
Are you a
product.
belabor?
I believe.
Belieber?
I believe in this product.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I actually really like it. They're awesome coasters. Plus,
Yeah.
I mean, how cool is that, right? You put your cup down, taxation theft. Amen. So
Right? Bring your in-laws over.
yeah,
Host Thanksgiving.
host Thanksgiving.
Be
Force
like,
them to
hey,
see.
you want a cup holder? Don't tread on me, ma'am. Dad.
Yeah.
Oh, good times. So get crunk, please. Oh, I'm already there, dude.
Yeah, we've been drinking for a while now.
Have you guys seen
Hmm.
Tosh.0? Okay, I don't
Tosh
know.
Bono is great.
When I did this, it made me think of that guy who's like, rat-tat-tat.
I don't know if anybody else watches Tosh Bono, but seriously, it's the only comedy that's like
But
not
it's
PC
over.
that still is
They
out
ended
there.
it.
Hasn't
Comedy
been censored.
Central ended it.
It's literally like the only comedic.
Yeah, it
it's
hasn't been
that level,
censored.
and he's does everybody's, and it's like you
But
look
it's
at it, you
just their
think
old shows. They're
a
just
lot of it is
reposting.
old, but it's like,
He's not doing new stuff. is
but
he?
that it's still up though. Like the idea that it's still
Yeah.
up on like YouTube and stuff
Right.
is insane to me. Because when
Right.
you think about how easily triggered people are, and they're like, "Oh, you gotta take him down." Like
It's
Tosh Bono would be
yeah.
taken down 100,000 times over, and maybe he will be at some point.
he like
but,
gets an excuse somehow. But
somehow
plus, it's
gets an
old
excuse.
video, and
but it's amazing. It's
he
so good.
otherwise doesn't really have a presence on social media. Like
Yeah.
he doesn't have a Instagram, I think, or a
Mhm.
Twitter.
Yeah.
And his YouTube, pretty sure some team manages it. I doubt he's.
You're right. I mean, he has a huge team that's behind
know.
Tosh. I mean,
Yeah.
unfortunately, he lost his, Comedy Central. They stopped, running him.
Yeah.
But
They
he's
said they want to focus on more adult cartoons.
that's sad because Tosh Point serious. I mean, he is one, in my opinion, he's one of the best comedians out there. I mean, he has a good team too, but he is
Yeah.
truly an incredible comedic talent. Like, in my opinion, just again, it's just me, but yeah, up there with like Dave
Just-
Chappelle and stuff. Like, he is that creative and funny, and he's insane.
I think so.
Yeah,
He's that good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I know, right? So it's like Jimmy's like, I remember Life Before Political Correctness, and it's like, I miss that
It-
kind of comedy. It's
It
just-
was
it's
the
ridiculous.
liberal quote left that was leading the anti-PC charge.
Mhm, it
and it
was.
was against the evangelical right of
Right.
the 90s. It was very specific. It was
Mhm.
like, this rap music is explicit. Put
Yeah.
parental
We need parental guidance. on
parental
this.
guidance
NWA,
needed.
yeah.
You know, that was the start. And I think some of those OGs who are still in the game, they speak out against it for sure. Like
Mhm.
Dave Chappelle, he was one of the people who like was there during that time trying to help that culture of like free
Mhm.
speech. It ultimately is about free speech. It ultimately is about being able to share your thoughts about the world and like inspire and challenge existing preconceived notions about reality. You
Right.
know, so
Absolutely.
so yeah, I think Tosh is one of those people as
Tosh
well.
up
It's
there.
really
He's,
funny.
he's hilarious.
But
I think
I wonder what he'll do next. I don't know. Oh, hey Zach, welcome.
Tim Dillon's good too. I like I think JP Sears is pretty funny. There's definitely a lot of good comedians out there who are anti-PC, and it's just sad though that the numbers dwindling.
Sorry, I'm just watching Zach's recruiting method for the Meacocks.
The Maycocks. I just love it how
The
like a
women
lot
will
of the
like you
haters,
more.
That's-
That's funny.
a lot of the Meacocks haters, like it's so hilarious. Like what the stuff they try to
That's
say
why
about
they
it.
want me. They make me want to like remember to represent it more. 'cause
Right.
It's just like not about racial stuff. like you're saying, like I don't know. It just seems so weird to focus on that.
Yeah.
It's just like the focus is about economic liberty. I mean, there the Mises Institute, Mises Caucus, like all the people associated, they spoke out against the lockdowns. I mean, they're on the side of liberty. So I don't
Mhm.
get it. Like I don't get what the whole trying to like smear their name is, and the constant focus on like past things that individuals within have done and they're more so just opinions.
Mhm.
So it's just like really annoying because it's like we're all trying to like advocate for liberty here and change minds, and by trying to like harm each other's reputations individually just seems really petty of a focus compared to the grave threats of danger
Right.
to our liberty.
Especially when it's like
So it
trying to
just
bring
seems
up
really-
stuff that someone's had their views changed on, or like
Yeah,
I think that's kind of an interesting dilemma that
right.
we face today is that
Like, don't look at my middle school days. You know what I mean? It's just like,
unfortunately
why
with
would you
social
go
media,
back there
right?
and you're like, I went to your Instagram and you were 14 and you used to like, I don't know, like Obama. Okay. I don't know.
it is tough out there because again, if since social media is so much a part of people's lives, like it's become much harder for younger people, and I say younger people just to mean anybody in their
Mhm.
early childhood days all the way up to their 20s these days. Like if you have a different opinion in the past, and again, even something that I find abhorrent, like something that I just think is wrong, someone who's like a complete Holocaust denier or something like that, right? You can, if you go through that phase and you do that and you're like, okay, actually I was wrong, then people just bring up what you used to say, even if you've changed your mind, and they're like, okay, sorry guys, because everything on social media, people just love to screenshot old stuff and then bring it back up, right? It's like all they do is they try to hold you to something that you did before, where you may even say, yeah, okay, I don't agree with what I used to think, that was wrong. Like there's no room for change because people just use this, Saul Alinsky methods, to like just keep, pick one
Mhm.
negative point and just focus on it and keep bringing it up. So it's tough
Exactly.
out there. You know what I
To
mean?
discredit you and make
Right.
you look like a villain.
If you have any opinions in your life,
Like
that,
going after Lou Rockwell. It's like, what the fuck is wrong?
yeah,
He's in a long-term monogamous relationship where he
It's
loves
like
his wife.
his Mighty Ducks
loves
article
his
was
friends.
ridiculous. Like I mean, it was pretty bad, but
Yeah.
it was pretty typical of that time. Like a lot of evangelicals wrote about that.
What time was it? What was the year?
It's like in the mid '90s. Yeah,
Wow.
it was just kind of silly.
That's no, but that's
but
what I mean.
it
Like,
was,
what the heck is that? Like, that's annoying. It's like these people aren't running for office either,
Uh-huh.
so they're just like advocating for principles. And I haven't seen Lou Rockwell talk about that Mighty Ducks. Like, if it was the mid '90s,
yeah,
like,
it's
he hasn't brought it
25-year-old
up.
article,
Yeah, like,
and
that's so crazy.
it was not the great. Like it was
He
kind
like
of a silly
literally
take.
didn't bring that up when we went to Mises U in 2019. He didn't bring that up at all. Like,
No, of course it's I mean, but it's one of those things where it's like if you have any kind of change over time, right? But again, because a lot of people are used to just posting their opinions publicly, Twitter and this or that. If you have any type of change over time, then people just bring up who you used to be instead of being like, no, I changed my mind or I learned or I made mistakes. Like, you know what I mean? You never can outlive your mistakes. Like in the past, you could make mistakes and move on because there wasn't something to screenshot for everything that you freaking did. So
Yeah.
it's tough out there for a lot of people because again, if you evolve as a person, from your teen years, your 20s, whatever, and you change, then people just keep bringing up the past, and you can never like outlive your past and say, okay, I made some mistakes, I was wrong there, and move on.
Mhm.
So it's pretty it's rough out there for a lot of people.
yeah.
But what are you gonna do? Except just say screw them,
Yeah.
just keep going.
Beat You Up has some good like lines for a rap.
Yeah.
Just comments.
Okay.
No fakes here, homeboy.
Okay.
You're like, okay. Wow, we've been going for an hour and a half almost.
Height. Yeah.
Ah,
but-
the good old days of the internet. Newgrounds. Remember that? YouTube.
I remember Newgrounds, of course.
People are like, the Wild West. I'm like, yeah, the Wild West of freedom. Of freedom of association. I mean
Mm-hmm.
come on. Where like some random person can like become a YouTuber and make some money.
I mean, also back in the day, I remember hecklers.com. I remember
I don't even know what that
Tripod, right?
is.
Using
Tripod.
Tripod websites. Oh yeah. I go back to that time.
Do you remember freewebsitemaker.com?
No, I didn't use that.
Oh.
So Risha said, what's your next song about? Our next song's gonna be
Oh,
about
we have so many. I'm not sure
It's-
which one exactly is going to be the next
I know
one.
which one's gonna be the next one, so
Which one?
Real Libertarian.
Oh, Real Libertarian.
It's gonna be so good you're gonna cry. So I don't want to give any more
It's
away.
going to make you want to go to conferences.
Let's put it that way. It's gonna feel too real. So maybe like, oh shit, that's
In fact,
that's my real life on this track.
After this,
Yeah.
I poked you. Look, I broke the fourth wall.
Yeah.
Okay.
The faux wall.
Do you consent?
No, I do not consent.
What about now?
As you heard from my song, I'm like,
What
I do
about
not consent.
now?
I do
Do you
not
consent
consent.
now?
Yeah.
Is this how you ask for consent? You like do the thing?
Yeah. Do
Already?
it already.
Yeah, yeah. And you're
It's
like,
called
do you
rape.
consent right now?
Mega rape. Triple rape.
Okay. Well, we're gonna karaoke and practice,
Mhm.
but I think you'll like it. Can we say the genre or nah? Is that the most you want to give away?
No, you could no. You could go for it. It's okay. That part's okay.
It's a love song.
Semi love song. Emo rap trap.
Yeah.
It's gonna be insane.
But like, funny enough, not emo at all. Well, is it?
Pretty emo.
All right, we gotta. Is it
Yeah.
emo?
A little bit.
I mean, the lines. Is it?
I think so.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. A little bit.
We've been trying to do
Sure.
different types of music genres as we go through. We want to even do a country song, but that's gonna be tough. We'll see.
Oh, country. I mean, you would have to stay in character. You just like
Yeah.
Lil Nas X.
Right.
But doesn't he actually have a Texas accent, Southern accent? Or no, am I wrong?
I don't know.
I can't
I
remember.
don't know.
But you could.
You could.
You just be like, I don't know.
You could. You want to do a quick music break here to listen to
Ooh, another song.
I Do Not Consent? You down?
Who's me?
I mean, I guess / the audience. All right.
Who's the audience? Is the audience down?
Well,
I
they
mean,
can't consent to this. It's just gonna get played.
Oh, okay. They did not.
Yo,
Someone's gonna
just
be like,
being
I did
real
not
right now,
consent.
I
did
did not sign on to jack shit. I did not consent.
Oh, love
I did
song.
not consent. I did not consent. I did not consent.
I did not consent to all these evil endless wars. And I did not consent to you robbing me for the poor. And I did not consent to the drug wars prohibition, the mass incarceration, crony clandestine vision.
can't replicate
And I
it
did
'cause
not
it's
consent
here,
to
'cause it's
throwing
so
children into
intense.
prisons. They call it public schools, really
Oh,
state
wow.
of superstitions. And I did not consent to the phony Fed Reserve. Fiat forced to
World
fill
War
the bankers' pockets undeserved. And I did not consent to the taxes on my land. A neo-feudal slavery of serfs by the tax man. And I did not consent to a draft or conscription. My body's not your property for military missions.
I do not consent. I will not be silent. These stated shackles cannot stop my liberation sirens. I do not consent. I will not
you want
be
me-
silent. These
sing
stated shackles cannot stop my
I like so
liberation
bad.
sirens.
That's an admission. Fight tyrants to the death. Fuck being enslaved on a prison planet complex. The info war that's for your mind, your body, soul, and status. Waged by pedo politicians, whole world ravaged. I did not consent to the nasty no-knock raids. Murder of Duncan Lemp, Breonna Taylor, and the babes.
Yeah,
I
dude,
did not
Duncan Lemp,
consent to
Breonna
victimless
Taylor,
crime laws.
and then,
The
you know,
innocent
babies.
locked up over milk and straws. I did not consent to Operation
I love that
Mockingbird.
Japanese.
MK Ultra experiments and fake news blurbs. And I did not consent to being ruled by a few. Different sets of standards, one for them, one for you.
I do not consent. I will not be silent. These stated shackles cannot stop my liberation
What if I did the
sirens.
chorus?
I do not consent. I will not be silent. These stated
We were
shackles
gonna do
cannot
this
stop
in a
my
southern
liberation
accent.
sirens.
I will not comply with the new world order, system of obedience, liberty subverter. And I will not comply with shutdown threats. Life's not worth living in a cage with no bread. That's right. This world is
Gold
ruled by a bunch
or
of sick
silver
psychopaths.
or
You
guns.
think voting's gonna change that? Ha! Think again.
I
You gotta
just
change
remember
minds. You
saying
gotta
that.
change the culture. You gotta stay strapped 24/7.
Hey,
This is our
y'all
last
stay
chance.
strapped 24/7.
Take a stand.
Someone's like, this makes my schizophrenia act up. Holy crap, are you okay? Call your mom.
Man, like doing that scream part
your
though,
dad.
I had to go really loud. I'd be like, I do not consent. Yeah.
Dude, other people are in the room.
Sorry guys. I just woke up your whole block.
I don't consent to you screaming so loud.
Yeah.
Someone's
Sorry.
like, take your
It's like
meds.
immediate, like 100 people stop watching.
Someone's like to the guy that says this makes my schizo act up. They're like, take your meds.
But
What helps schizophrenia? I don't know. Like, what's that word? Liturgical something.
liturgical?
I don't-
Lithium?
Is it?
I mean,
L-
sometimes people give like a
LSD?
hard metal.
No, what does
lithium.
LSD stand for?
Oh, God damn it, I forgot what it is.
Are you
I could-
allowed to
it's-
say
it's
his
an-
name in vain? Is that
so
allowed on
acid-
commie
goddamn
YouTube?
right.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Of course you can say God's
Yeah.
name in vain.
I just woke up
Okay.
half Tuscaloosa.
Whoa.
Tuscaloosa. Sorry guys. Yeah, I screamed a little too
Wait,
loud.
someone gave a super chat. I want to cheers you.
Oh yeah, I need to cheers them. Sorry.
Violently beating people. What's
I
happening?
need to violently beat the.
Wow, World
Do you
War
have a PO
Wait-
box?
Well, cheers.
We should get a
thank
PO
you.
box so
Yeah, we
someone can send
should.
us bombs.
Or like
Yeah.
white powder. Ah, what's that?
You're like, thanks
Ah.
for the anthrax.
I don't know.
I know.
Sorry.
I would, except too many people want to kill me, so that's why I don't, unfortunately. And you think I'm joking, but I'm not.
Yeah.
There it is. Lysergic
I was
diethylamide
close.
acid. I'm
What
like,
did I say? Liturgical.
liturgical acid.
Hey,
yeah.
Richard, welcome.
You know liturgical acid.
Funny that you would know. Wait, what?
Website doesn't work. Which website?
Lysergic diethylic acid. Yeah. So LSD acid. Okay. Cool. So anyway, does that help schizophrenia? That was the point of me
Yeah.
bringing that up, but hopefully it does. Or CBD. Maybe CBD helps. Sorry
Yeah.
to beat you up. I keep, just triggering your schizo. All right. Zach says, I wish people would mail me white powder. You don't
a good
want
kind of
that,
white
Zach.
powder.
That could be like rat poison. Oh, you mean?
Rat poison.
Hey, speaking of Zach
Mhm.
and the fact that it's Friday, Rebecca Black came out with a remix of Friday.
Yeah, that
It's
was
this
crazy.
Friday. You like it, Zach?
And it had
I want to ask you about it. I
oh,
bet you're gonna say yes. Dorian
Dorian
Electra,
Electra. Yeah, who I've
who
seen in
did
person.
the Hayek song.
She did the Hayek song. I watched her do the first
Wow.
like live performance of that in 2013.
That's so cool. She did that song.
Crazy. And
She
then she
did
took it
the
down.
what was it called? I Love Hayek, or what was it
Yeah,
called?
something like that.
Oh,
But she was a grifter. I knew that from the beginning that she was going to be a grifter, but
it's
it was fun to do her little song.
like when a status just like dabbles in libertarianism for like a hot
You
minute.
can tell, like a lot of the grifters, you could just like you look at them like, oh, okay, yeah, you'll be here. For
How do you
5
tell?
minutes.
What's the signs?
Like they get really excited
all
about
watch out.
liberty, but they're very new to it, and they want to have a front and center presence, even though they've like done
Oh.
very little intellectual or activism work. Like
Mm.
someone who's like, yeah, I'm like the number one of this thing, and it's like you just started doing stuff. Like immediately, no.
Oh.
Like the people who tend to be long-term dedicated, like start small. They're like they go to some student groups or they go to some liberty meetups. They like take some time to learn about principles. They grow themselves, and then like once they kind of like get their mind around it, then they like do something.
Right.
Like they have like some network connections first. They meet people in person, try explore. But the people get really excited, and then like I'm gonna do something for liberty right away. It's like you're gonna be here for 5 minutes. You know what I mean? Like
Oh, I see.
you're gonna be here for 5 minutes.
You see what Richard said? That's fun.
Yeah. Tavistock Institute or Tavistock. I think it's Tavistock, not Travistock.
So is that a Zach? I mean, a Zach. Yes. Is that a yes, Zach?
Was a yes.
That you like it? The
Oh,
song.
I bet he
He says
loves
it's
that.
a different experience when you're sober. I bet. I
I
mean,
bet.
it is very different.
Yeah.
The art is pretty cool. I will say. So many
Yeah.
effects.
Grifters and feds are all over the
That's a
place.
music
That's true.
video. I just gotta say, that's a music.
Yeah.
Video.
No, I think it's true that definitely the liberty movement definitely does suffer from a lot of status interference in a meaningful way, like in terms of like informants and feds and
Definitely.
manipulation, even in the LP and stuff like that. They put people in. But
Yeah, like Lincoln Chafee running.
oh god, I don't know that he was one. I think Nick Sarwark like is the closest thing you could be like.
Yeah. I mean, whatever. Maybe he's just a career politician.
fat
He's
boy.
like, I'm just here. I'll do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I'm a politician. Whatever. Maybe he was just like kind of, if I give him the benefit of the doubt, right? But it was just like really funny because he's just like, oh yeah, I'll stand up for this, or
Mhm.
just kind of like
Piece of shit.
lying.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was just like, how's that getting into the LP?
because a lot of these people they get washed up in mainstream
Yeah.
politics like I can run a campaign here, make some money, and
Yeah.
still have some relevance, and it's just so annoying.
It was fun to
Yeah.
go though to when we went to an LP convention.
Yeah.
Played politics, just saw.
Mhm.
It was just fun to observe like the political candidates and to just see how they change and like how they focus on it.
Right.
Their demeanor is all about it. But it was fun, and we hung out with I just feel so bad that it starts with an A.
Ashley.
No, I mean she's cool. One of the candidates, political presidential.
Arvin?
Yeah. A. Yeah.
Mhm.
He was fun.
Oh yeah.
We had hot pot, of course.
Oh my god.
Of course we did.
With Berman, with Dan Berman of Taxation Stuff.
Yeah, he wore
We
his
took Dan
big
Berman
old hat.
And Arvin to eat some hot
He's like
pot.
taxation of suburban, like walks in with this giant hat. We're like, can we get a table? They're like, sure. And this was before all the shutdowns. So
Yeah.
that was before like there was no mask, everyone's sitting close, whatever.
We've taken quite a few people to hot pot. We took Roger Stone to hot pot.
That was such a
That was
funny
hilarious.
story.
Yeah, and Roger Stone hated the hot pot. He's
Yeah.
like, this is the worst
Right.
meal I've ever had in my life. I'm like, well, Oh my goodness, that was
I
hilarious.
mean, it's challenging. I mean, first off, it started where he can't handle any spice, And he's like, "Is this hot at all?" And I was like, "Well, it's not hot to me."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's just like a little bit.
And then
He's
he started
like,
crying.
Okay. And he's like, "This is so hot."
Right.
I'm like, "Oh, sorry. Can we like
We
change
literally
out the
we made
soup?"
Roger Stone cry. Literally.
And he had to like boil his own soup, and it was like over boiling. It was like over boiling because he kept it on the hot setting.
Yeah.
It's just so annoying.
That was fun.
You became his like makeshift assistant, like just like, "Oh, here you."
I
press
literally was
this."
Roger Stone's
I'm
like,
just, like,
food
watching.
assistant. Like, all right, here, this is how you do it. This is how you hit the
Yeah,
button.
it was really
That was
funny.
really funny. Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
times.
In any case, Roger Stone told us what we need to know, which was Trump was definitely not pardoning Snowden and Assange.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, he's not going to do that. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, try to tell him to do it. Not that he's going to, but if you could tell Trump to do that, would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
and that didn't happen.
Here, random question.
We
So
tried.
Richard
And
asked,
Ulbricht too.
excuse me, are
Yeah.
you two running for office soon, or is your goal to continue influencing Liberty culture?
Liberty culture. That's what we do.
Yeah, I've thought about running, but like when they go through and they just like ask you all kinds of questions, like,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on the government?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, this is not like, an unsafe place to do. It's just like literally the government. So, what do you think about our organization that you're
Mhm.
coerced to fund? Like, tell me about it. Tell me if we should worry about your
Yeah.
obedience. It's like that's like the thing that keeps you from working for the state. I mean, yes, would I like a tax-free income? But
Yeah, running for office is like a last ditch effort. Like that's where if it's that bad, you know what I mean? Where you're like, I will do anything to try to stop this, Before,
Yeah.
of course, a true civil war, where that gets nasty.
Right. It'd have to get to
But-
that point. But I think there's leadership arises like even without you could say like US governmental political power or leadership positions, like you could, for example, join the LP or something, and that's different than actually working for the state.
Mhm.
Or some like freedom focus not for profit or something like that, in a leadership position there, right? And be a spokesperson
Mhm.
and a face, So I definitely could see the latter more than the former of like actual political office, like House of Rep or like a
House of Rap. I mean,
House of Rep.
House
I'm
of Rap.
sorry.
Rapping.
I'm a House Rep.
Go Gator.
Okay, Senator. You can see I'm not really involved in the political process. House of Reps.
Yeah.
I'm a House of Rep.
Yeah. You can make a
Put
rap
it
song
so.
about that. I'm a House of Rap.
Oh gosh. Yeah, or like governor, that would be interesting actually. Governor of some
Governor
state.
Pho.
But
Mandatory pho on every corner. You're like,
free the pho.
power immediately corrupts.
No,
and now-
I
yeah.
deregulate the
Deregulate
market.
the
I
pho.
deregulate the pho market. I can only dream. All I can do is dream. I will be honest. Sometimes I do like dream of like being able to be like, all right, free the market and taxation. Like, no. And just
Yeah.
be like, and that. It's just like abolish the drug war,
Right.
abolish no knock raid, blah blah blah.
be nice.
Constitutional care. Like that'd be cool. But then I think about it, I'm like, what is the process to get there? And it's like
Really evil.
it's a pain.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of evil people in the way, especially when you come to the quote, the establishment, which is just nothing more than the group of people who are established in that power structure to date. You can have an establishment even at a private company, they've just been there for like decades and they have their buddies and, they like pat each other up and promote their own. So, but you have that in government. So yeah. To answer your question, there you go.
Yeah. Basically.
Question answered. Anyone know of the E-Militia podcast? Because I went on that today. It was fun.
Yeah. Just before this.
It's fun. Cool gang. It was a girl and 3 guys. Sounds like a horrible internet video, but it was really just a girl and 3 guys. And we talked about all kinds of things. It was really fun. And they asked me about like this and that.
That'd be good. Yeah. we
Talking
can
about
do
Stefan Molyneux, Tom Woods, childhood self-knowledge,
that. Yeah.
peaceful parenting. So yeah.
All good things.
Someone says you need a proper whiskey glass.
I do.
I agree.
Someone
Thanks,
asks, is
Richard.
intellectual property anti-liberty? Yes, in terms of
I
the
think
state.
so.
Because the government,
Violates property right, body and property rights to enforce.
well, essentially,
Think so.
it's the idea that if you have your own independent property,
Yeah.
it's the idea that somebody else, could be the government or somebody else, can use violence against you for how you use your independently owned property, right? So
And
if
what
you,
it looks like and how you shaped it. you
in a
know,
very
how you
simple
designed
example,
it.
like you have Disney Mickey Mouse, if you have your own pencil and paper and you draw it, that's your property. Yeah, it's a derivative work, but technically in and of itself, it's your property. If they can do something to you over that use violence, then that is actually violent of your property rights. So
yeah.
IP is in and of itself as a state paradigm is unethical, but
Hello.
there would be proximate IP in the market, of course, in terms of like organizational protection. Like maybe you have a certain like YouTube, for example, right? Maybe on that platform, you could have IP within there to say your channel, no one can rip from there, this or that, like rip onto that, or like the
Yeah.
terms of service say,
Right. And
you
you
know.
can have machine learning and algorithms to help detect, or a system of reporting like, hey, someone like copied my video. Can you like, and they enabled monetization. Can you
right on
or something,
on the platform,
and they're
right,
pretending to be me. Like
platform IP.
it's within that platform itself. And that's
Right.
totally ethical because that's within the
Right.
platform's like
right.
rules.
Agreement of rules, right?
So yeah.
But-
Great
yeah.
questions. I feel like there's like a meeting, Liberty meeting.
Mm.
Anyone else have anything that they want to talk about and discuss?
Yeah.
Any blockers?
I'm faded.
You're faded?
Well, because I've had a lot of drinks. Wow. And it's been only
Whoa.
one support, but
We're 172%.
170% of the goal.
That's really
pretty
cool.
good.
Almost 200. So yeah, if you guys want a coaster or a keychain, don't tread on me.
Yeah.
Free the people in Chinese, the philosopher in little text, Chinese dragon.
Someone asked,
Oh,
are
you can't
children
see it.
property of their parents? If so, when did they become independent? Who enforces that? Great question. Let's answer
Wow.
that. That's easy.
Whoa.
So children are not
That's easy.
property of their parents. They're independent, of course, human beings. Rather, parents have a stewardship or trust relationship. They essentially are the caretakers, the best caretakers of children until a child is able to independently function, that is, provide for themselves, move out of the house, stuff like that. So when is that? That just depends on the individual. Obviously, there's always going to be differences, whether, you have in the extreme end, someone who has mental retardation and
Yeah.
they need lifelong support, or you might have a really ambitious young person at 15. They already are working, a job, and they're trying to, move out and support themselves, whatever. There's going to be different individual nuances, and that's how it is. There's always individual nuances with maturity, development, ability to, support oneself and move out. So that's all there is to it. Very, very straightforward stuff. Once you, learn philosophy.
Nice.
Yeah, just philosophy. There's nothing to it.
And it's like, who enforces that? People enforce that.
Yep.
Cultural norms.
Mhm.
Like, just think about it. Like, people, and this is what the state is doing when it comes to things like social distancing, keeping 6 feet apart, or wearing masks. Like, a lot of what they're doing is spending money, your tax dollars, or printing money on propaganda. Whether it's having a bunch of celebrities wear a bunch of masks, or when they make music videos, they're like 6 feet apart, whatever. Like, it's all part of propaganda, and their goal is to get people to enforce it, like at the local level. So
Mhm.
like, you go to a grocery store and some strangers like runs up to you and they're like, hey, put on your mask, some Karen, right? Like, that's their goal, and
Mhm.
that's a product of the propaganda, and that's a successful outcome in their
Mm.
in terms of their goals. So
Named Zach Lukowski said, what are your thoughts on self-knowledge and peaceful parenting?
Oh, you don't say. Oh, yes.
We have a song about that coming out.
Ooh, yeah, we have a song about that coming up.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. So masks. But anyway, yeah, so cultural norms. And it really, because at the
My
end of the day,
God.
it's just people and incentives. So if you have a lot of people in the community around you, like grocery store workers, like where you get your food, where you get gas, whatever, they're against theft. And if you try to steal something, everyone's gonna like look after you or run after you, or maybe if you're in an armed society, pull out their gun and be like, drop it or shoot you. I don't know. But like that's what I mean in terms of cultural norms and in terms of who enforces things is at the end of the day is just human beings, and it's just what are the norms that people have. So it just depends on the people around you and what their norms are and how free you yourself are as an individual to defend your own life. So regardless of what others believe as a cultural norm, do you at least have the ability to defend your property? So
Well, I mean, at a bare minimum, you definitely need to change minds for a philosophical norm, because if you don't, it's just an empirical reality. Like, if you don't change minds, well, then whatever most people think or do is just what is, the type of violence you're going to face, right? If most people think government's great and they can do whatever the hell they want to you, well, then you're going to be in a place where there's lots of violence for people because they disobey the state. So you have to, fundamentally, everything is about mind change. You have to change other people's minds to value self-ownership, property rights, and so forth. If you don't, then you have people rationalizing state violence for whatever random, ends, and they don't, stand up or defend against all kinds of tyranny.
yeah.
So that's just the empirical reality. Like, there's no way around that. It is always about changing minds and social philosophical norms.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all there is to it.
Right.
It's the empirical
I
reality.
mean, that's what
Either
statists
people
tell
do or
you
don't.
too. Statists don't tell you to raise arms. They say go change minds. They literally say go protest, go change minds. They're like, get the laws changed, right? They're like, if you don't like it, vote someone else in or vote
Move
for
to
a new
China.
law. So what they're saying though is change people's minds, rally people, get people on your side to vote a certain way. So it's like everyone gets it. It's about changing minds at the end of the day. That's why there's so much money spent on propaganda. That's why there's so much money invested in movies and music and art and pictures and all kinds of things, memes.
Right.
Because the goal is at the end of the day to change the minds of your fellow humans so that they'll change their minds and then therefore their actions. And for us as libertarians, volunteers or ANCAPs, whatever, anarchists, leave you the F alone.
Mhm.
And just like allow each other to just coexist and live in peace.
So is a Civil War II inevitable, or can it be stopped? And basically, in my opinion, that falls with the Supreme Court. It depends on what the Supreme Court does. The Supreme Court strikes down various gun laws that might coming up soon, then there might not be it. If they don't, or they fail to do it properly and say that the gun restrictions coming up that it will probably be passed by Congress are okay, including a NFAing of your typical semi-automatic guns. I think if the Supreme Court does not strike that down as unconstitutional, there will 100% be violence. There will be a war for sure. And I will be participating in that war personally, for sure. I will definitely be taking up arms against the government for sure.
Absolutely beautiful
so
words.
Just say that right now. I don't give a fuck.
Aww.
Like, you know what I mean? If they want to go through and turn, people into criminals for literally having your basic, guns here, like, okay, well then there it is. That's the line in the sand. It's going to go down. So I'm done.
Right.
But there's a good chance the Supreme Court is going to strike it down because the precedent's there, thanks to Heller McDonald. And so it'll be very likely that they would be like, nope, especially given the court
you're saying
makeup.
that the guns issue is a big deal. Like
pretty much. That's the big drawing line.
What happens there with the state and who they go after? Because there's a lot of people with vested interest for that to continue. So
it's just that will, because it's going to criminalize a lot of people. It's going to basically say to a bunch of people, you better pay us money or we're going to turn you into felons. And it's like, wow, okay.
You do that. Now you have to question, what's the point? It's like, I wasn't being violent anyway. So why do I have to bow my head and just follow your stupid rules when I wasn't doing anything wrong anyway? I wasn't
Right.
harming anyone.
Well,
Why can't I have
I don't think
a
people could even
SBR?
comply.
Why can't I have
Right.
a suppressor without a tax stamp? Like,
I don't think
it's
people could even
ridiculous.
comply in time anyway, because if
Yeah.
it, from what I've read in legislation, like if you're going to pay $200 something like that for every gun you own and register it in the ATF, like they can't
Mhm.
take in hundreds of millions of guns, right? Like literally the ATF cannot,
It's ridiculous.
literally physically cannot process,
And most people wouldn't comply.
hundreds of millions of applications for guns, even assuming that people didn't comply. They can't do it in time. So you're going to be a felon the entire time waiting anyway. So it's just politicized. And I'm going to say, I mean, I'm already in. I'm like, fuck it. If they do that, I'm in. I'm going to war personally. So I'm going in.
Right.
So it'll be battle. But I also strongly believe that it won't be the case, because I think the Supreme Court would likely strike it all down and say no, given the current court makeup.
Right.
So, but if they fail, then that's it. It's over.
Yeah.
Then it's on.
Ooh, someone asked a cool question. It was higher up, but it was like follow up on our question about like, our kids' property of their parents. And then someone said like, well, so then can you step in and defend a child who is being like abused by their parents?
What? Well, first define
Or-
abuse.
Right. Like physically beaten. And then he said, well, he or she.
Yeah.
I assumed
It's a she-male.
She-male. It's a she. It's a sir.
Mm-hmm.
But he was just like, what if you find like gender reassignment surgery? I think you said that. I'd have to scroll up again. But if
Well, that's the whole
if you
the whole
find that
problem is
abusive.
that everyone loves to talk big about like other people and their kids, but in reality, they're all pussies. I'm just going to shoot it right there, because the reality is that if you there's so many different types
just
of different
human
abuses.
nature, they just don't want to engage in conflict.
There's
like
right.
you just
What, you're gonna go and
most
mess
people.
with someone and their kid? Like by and large, not likely, unless
might
you're
get
like
shot.
right.
Like,
Unless you're
punched.
watching a kid be physically attacked, which again, by any means, anyone would be justified in defending someone being attacked, whether they're kid or adult. But the thing is in reality, parenting by and large needs to be respected, because again, there's so many different variations of what people think is abuse or not, right? Lots of people think, oh, if you eat meat, militant vegans, you're abusing your kids, right? People think, oh, if you spank them. And again, I think that's abuse. But again, some people don't. And even though I know it personally is abuse, again,
if you
doing
teach
more
them
violence,
taxation is theft. That's
right?
like,
Some people think that if you teach your kids
that's
taxation theft, you have your kids taken away from you, right? Like people who are big status. Parenting and stuff like that. Again, there's a lot of areas of disagreement of things, but the way to reduce violence is to generally let parents do their thing and their kids, because again, you're not going to sit there and take the kids forcibly away because you don't like how they treat them in a moment, and then how much more conflict is that going to create, right? And then the kid might have resentment, this or that. You can't fix it. You can't.
Right.
You can't.
But
generally
definitely
fix
stepping
that
in that
situation.
moment, and
right. If you see a kid
especially
literally
when
being
you
like
when you
beaten or
hear
something,
the
like,
kid like say stop, like stop, I don't want it, and like kids, unless they get that like literally abused out of them, like they will say I don't want it and say no. And like if you hear that, I think you should
right.
You should defend like that kid and just say, hey, that's wrong, your kid doesn't like it, you shouldn't hurt them, like
I mean, again, I disagree with you here in that I don't believe that it is wise to interfere with parenting, even with things that you think are abusive. And the reason is that generally speaking,
like even if someone like slaps a kid across the face,
even then, here's why. Here's why though. What's going to come of it? Right? Everybody likes to think of the moment, and they like to be like, oh, in that one moment, I'm going for justice in this moment. You don't have the afterthought out. Very few people have the intellectual longevity to even think, okay, and now what? There's a kid. They're dependent on somebody. They need shelter, food, care, and a parental love. Are you going to provide that because you just stopped them from maybe being smacked or something once? No, most people are not going to go in there and be like, yeah, I'm going to be this kid's savior for the next, 10 years, 20 years. It's ridiculous. So a lot of people talk big about it, but in reality, they don't have.
That effectively makes them being treated like makes them being treated like property. It
not really, because a kid can always leave And a kid
Yeah,
can request
that's
self-defense if they're being literally attacked. But the point is that you can't fix every single problem in parenting. You can't do it. You can't be
Right.
like, because again, everybody has different ideas. I personally, here's a good example, right? I think if you're giving your kids sugary cereals, that's child abuse, right? Now, does somebody having sugary cereals, from your, whatever Kicks or whatever, or Tricks, is that reason for me to be able to rip your kid from you? Because I think it's abuse, just like someone thinks spanking's abuse. No, right? Like you'd be like, that's crazy. You're just because my kid's overweight and I'm feeding him Oreos and stuff, and I think that's abusive to make them overweight, doesn't give me a right to go in and break that parental relationship. The reality is that there are unique relationships, and unless someone is actively like truly trying to hurt a child, in other words, they're trying to actually, cause harm, stuff like that to them, do violence, that kind of thing. You know what I mean? You can't fix all those problems just by doing more violence or trying to rip a kid from a situation. The solution is voluntary means
Right.
and helping. And to me, what's more important is helping those who are
Yeah, you're just
trying to
saying
be good
it'd
parents.
it wouldn't be very
Yeah.
incentivized, some service that like takes children away from parents.
Right.
Even parents, like you said, who are like, by your own standards, punitive, abusive, like gives them crap sugar. It's only
Right.
McDonald's every day.
They're overweight. You know how many
whatever,
kids are
neglects
freaking overweight in
them,
America?
doesn't-
It's disgusting.
Yeah, or
It's
doesn't
sad.
talk to them or even
Right.
shames them. Sorry.
Yeah.
Calls them names. Like that's very abusive in my opinion. But I don't think the market would incentivize like, okay, let me fund a service that like takes that away. It would more be focused, I think, on education, on outreach, community outreach, building relationships, trying to say, hey, like, have you tried this way of when this conflict happens with your kid of handling it? I think it would happen more from a compassionate educational standpoint in that regard.
Well, that's the thing is that you're not going
and also like
create.
defense
You're not going to create less
and
conflict, like
association,
unless a
but-
parent is like literally like strung out. Like, and this
Mhm.
exists, of course. There are parents who are addicts and they can't even take care of their kids, and in that case, the kid needs help or intervention because the parents are literally like strung out. Like, you know what I mean? They're not even taking care of the kids. Like, of course, but you know what I mean. I think that trying to lower the standard of, oh, is this abuse or what can I come in is just absolutely asinine because you're not fixing the underlying problem. You're not guaranteeing support for the kid and you're not doing anything to actually change the situation. And the reality is there's so many parents out there who want to be good parents, but for whatever other reasons, they're poor or they have a certain situation, maybe they're ill, they have an injury, they need help. And so many people are so focused on being punitive. They're like, I want to get revenge or this or that for like bad parents. And it's like, dude, if you spent your time actually helping parents who want to be good parents, but who are struggling because, again, maybe they have an injury, they have an illness, they have poverty. You know what I mean? Like you could be helping to raise a peaceful generation, right? Instead of creating more conflict and violence. Like the people who are eager to do violence against parents or that situation are just missing that you're not fixing the underlying situation. The kid's going to be hungry tomorrow. The kid's going to need food tomorrow. He's going to need housing. He's going to need clothing. You can't sit there and be like, I'm going to do violence to this parent because whatever, I didn't like what they did in this situation and not think about the future for this kid and how they might feel about their parents, right? They're going to love their mom and dad or whoever's there taking care of them. You can't think that relationship's going to just magically disappear. Oh, okay.
Also,
it'd be weird.
I want to add also, I think another potential market and market thing that could arise is just like, well, one, there wouldn't be like such ties of a child to their parents on the books. I don't think I'm just unilaterally.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean
I'm already disagreeing based on what you just said.
Well, I just mean like a kid not being able to live on their own. Like they have to have some sort of guardian, don't they? Like
when?
Oh, like before, I mean at least 18, but then unless before they get some emancipation.
Are you saying just ethically or are you talking about like legally?
No, legally, at least the state I was in.
So given it, so given
the process was like you can't live on your own. You have to be with your parents unless you go to court and you
need to have
get
legal
them
emancipation.
to
Right.
exactly
Right,
emancipate you like you're a slave, right? Emancipation. But that's what I'm saying. Like
with
on the books
right.
now, it's like you're kind of like you have to stay with your parents. So I'm just saying, in like a free society, there would be more opportunities for kids who truly are abused, who truly don't want to stay with their parents, who make that personal decision of, holy crap, my parents are very abusive. I got to go.
Right.
That there would be a way like, okay, I'm 14. I'm allowed to work. I'm allowed to get my own house. As weird as that sounds to some people, you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
14, right? But otherwise, what they have nowhere to go. They can get a gun and train. They're 14 and protect themselves, and they're all alone. I'm just saying, it's just like obviously
They
not
could,
optimal.
but I'm gonna bring the counter arguments and play devil's advocate because
I'm just saying
people
it's
counter
one
argue to that and
opportunity,
say, well, there's also kids who are groomed by adults who are, you know what I mean? They have someone who's in a relationship who's older and they try to groom them to manipulate them and get them to come out with them, things like that. You know what I mean? Like there's going to be predation and those kinds of issues, right? So it's not like in every single, like, and there's also the counter argument. People say, well, this kid's being rebellious against his parents, but it wasn't for a good reason, right? Like maybe the parents are like, I don't want you to go to this thing, but it was actually a bad thing to go to. And so they're like leaving, right? So but that for me brings me back to when you talk about both sides, the idea that trying to intervene and centrally plan what is the best parenting for other people is very dangerous. And it creates a totalitarian system where you try to rationalize that some group of people has a higher ownership claim of a child than the in terms of stewardship or trust relationship than the parent. And that is actually way more dangerous than the what ifs of there's some bad parents out there who are a little abusive or who maybe are drug addicts. Like the idea of having the rationalization for other people to come in and use violence against parents because they deem their parenting style, whatever that may be, to be not good enough. That is way more terrifying than the chances that, again, occasionally there's some abuse at the home or there's some parents who are irresponsible and are addicts and things like that. That, again, they're whole different things. And the one that's way worse for sure is the rationalization of violence against parents by having central planners determine what is, you know, truly the best parenting by some, you know, whatever amorphous group of people.
Yeah.
That's what I tried. And
I
that's
mean,
what
depending
I
on the level, I mean, God, some people really have horrible parents, like super, you know, sexually abusive, physically, whatever.
Absolutely.
But, you know, I was just bringing up that as a thought of, you know, in a free society, you would have more opportunities for a kid to actually flee a situation that is that dire, you know. And I've talked to who is it? Jacob something.
Hornberger.
No. He's like an anarchist. I forgot his last name. But anyway, he was just saying, like, for him, like, even at age 11, like, he was very independent because his parents were drugged out, not there, not present. So he had to learn for himself, like, okay, how do I get food? How do I make food? How do I prepare? Like, he was in survival mode. And so for him, he experienced directly what it was like to, like, go out and be told, you know, by police, hey, you got to get back to your parents, you got to get back home. And like, there's no opportunity for him. He can't live in his own apartment, of course. Like, he can't work, right? There's child labor laws, minimum wage, like, you know, all these things. So it's just kind of like, in his mind, like, he was just thinking how he wished he had just had the opportunity to just be free, even though he was 11, and it's weird in most people's minds that you'd be that young, but he'd rather be out and working somewhere at a grocery store, whatever, living on his own than at home with his parents. So and that was his choice as a kid, as an 11-year-old. So I was just bringing that up as, like, you know, there are ways to help things without violence, direct central coercion and violence. So
well, certainly, I mean, because no matter what that situation, when people talk about, well, how would that be dealt with? I'm not even talking about like a liberty, you know, society, just how is that dealt with now, right? With the state. Well, again, with the state, you'd be forced to stay there no matter what in a court, assuming that they're not, the parents not actually like violently abusive. And even then there's a lot of leeway because physical violence in many states has kind of a margin of acceptability because, of course, corporal punishment is considered still valid for kids in many states. Right. So they'd have a wide latitude with which to suggest that, oh, and well, you know, it's fine. You're going to stay with your parents and that's it. You know, you better go home. So, yeah, but I think that, you know, that ties into school too. And it ties into other types of legal norms and in terms of work, as you said. But really, you know, I just think like if we're gonna get to the root, all this ties to philosophy at the end of the day. Like, you know what I mean? You can't escape that. You can talk about policies all day and like, shoot, what's the best thing? Like, or how would you deal with the situation? It's like,
Yeah.
screw it. Like, you're not dealing with the underpinning issues, which is why is the relationship with the parents bad in the first place, right? Why are the parents struggling to have a good relationship? Why is this kid feel like, oh, I hate it here. I just want to get out of here, right? If you don't go all the way to the ground floor, then you're just busy pissing on policy and like doing policy fantasy. And that's what I hate is I hate, just trying to do policy fantasy. Ooh, what's the best thing that could possibly happen? How would this, even in a free market, it's like, hold on, just forget about that for a second. Why is there this problem in the home in the first place, right? Like, why is there this pain and abuse and unmet emotional needs and feelings of fear? You know what I mean? And that's what needs to be addressed. If you don't address that underpinning relationship issue, then all you're doing is trying to like figure out what's the best escape route instead of being like, well, wait, how do we have better homes and better families and more loving relationships with, moms and dads and kids? Like, you know what I mean? It's like that, getting down all the way is pretty crucial, to ethical cultural change. If you smell what I'm stepping in.
Oh yeah, of course. Smell what you're stepping. I mean, I think it's fine to just like think of how things may work in a free society when you have the element of coercion removed. Like, what are the incentives? It's just like a brain exercise. It's very interesting.
It can be, yeah.
So it's just like, how can things like, what are the outlets for failure, or how can whatever? But yeah, I agree. Of course, changing minds, and that's another thing that would be more focused on is like education. So, as I said in the beginning.
As it was once said in the beginning.
All right. Well, gosh,
minds.
we have been going for 2 hours and 10 minutes. I'm getting tired. I don't know about you guys.
I'm pretty tired.
It's almost 1 a.m. But wow, it's been really fun. I hope you guys found this really enjoyable and insightful, and that you had some good conversations and interesting ideas flow through you.
And don't forget to get your tit coasters.
Your tit coasters. You don't tread on me coasters.
Yes.
Yeah, treesofliberty.org.
Yeah.
Or if you want to see Liberty Doll and I in what is it, April 3rd on a Saturday, go to phoevents.com and you can check that out on Eventbrite and do one of the sessions or all 3 or 2. And VIP hangout, going to the range, getting some shooting, practicing shooting some targets, pistol range only, by the way, read all the things. And a photo op. So yeah, and a talk. So yeah. If you can. I'll be in Florida. Events.com and treesofliberty.org for the coasters. If you like these coasters. I like this
yeah, that's super
in
cool.
particular. This one's really cool too. But I just like how the yellow kind of stands out, you know what I mean? Like, anyway.
It's pretty sick.
Yeah. Well, it's been really fun. Travis, Zach. Beat you up, Rika, everybody. Thanks so much for hanging out. It's been really, really fun. Richard. Oh wow, Frogger, I saw you were trying for a while. Okay, I gotta end it for Frogger here. Cheers, Frogger. Oh, it's like the slightest amount. Okay, thanks. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for hanging out, Frogger.
That's some good stuff.
Thanks for your support. All right. Well, thanks everyone again. It's been real.
It's been real fun.
See you around.
I'll see you on the flip side for more liberty.